Hey y'all, happy Monday. It is another Monday, the last one of July. We're on to August. 30 some days left, and it's going to get crazy around here. Okay, I am going to play my intro just to get notifications to go out because I think establishing some patterns of behavior, some misinformation are probably important. And I'm going to give a little bit more of a rundown here in a second.
You're beautiful but unsatisfied since day one. You were getting teased and it scarred you when you were young. Now you're getting older and you've been on the grind. Your paper off the scale so you feel like it's time. So you got a nose job, that's the primary thing. People tease you as a kid and for some reason you hit. Always into high fashion, girl, you heavy like lead. Liposuction out your shell like a chicken and egg. Feeling confident but now you're becoming obsessed. First your nose, then your weight, now your butt and your breast. It's a vanity fair, cosmetic overdose. Fiending for a next operation like it was dope. Now you feel the need to skin pill, your skin's no good. But if those around you were real, they'll tell you the truth. Just because you spending thousands, that don't make it alright. Had one problem, now it's many going under the knife. Your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. I said your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. Come on. Vanity Fair, yeah. Changing one or two things cool, girl, do you? Do you wanna be beautiful and look like you? Or do you wanna look like someone you saw in a magazine or video, but not in the raw? I like nice shaped bodies, bikinis Brazilian, but too much of anything just isn't appealing. Some people spend a lifetime, even a million. No grace like those unhappy with chilling. A girl with a big butt, big lips, small hips is what we all love to see, and men dream about this. There is nothing wrong with getting something broken fixed. Some women get a breast job cause cancer resists. Some women want to please their man and insist. And a woman really loves you if she wants to do this. But abuse ain't the same as intention with care. So be careful of the drug called the Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair. Your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. I said your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. Your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. I said your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, look at your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Okay, let me go up really quick and say hello to everybody. I want to get into this because we're going to do a few combo streams here. I want to lay out some foundation. The reason for this stream is because people are getting caught up in the fact that I'm talking about religion. Don't know what to tell you about it. You're entitled to your faith, your beliefs, everything like that, but so am I. And I am also entitled to not have to justify my feelings 24/7 to people who claim they're open-minded when they're really not even close to open-minded. If you can't understand the harm and the manipulation tactics that are used by these people, maybe this will give you a quick display, because these two people are one and the same. Jim Terry and Lil Feller are one and the same. In my opinion, they're the same as Molly Golightly. They just mask their manipulation differently. One uses faith, one uses shock jock like Howard Stern. They're all the same personalities. They all are harmful with their spreads of misinformation. Nothing changes there. But if my issues with religion and manipulative people bother you that much, please click out now. This isn't the stream for you, because I am not going to tone down how I feel for anybody else's comfortable feelings. Not going to happen. I have lived 40 years in a world where high impact, high controlled religious settings have impacted every decision in my life for 40 years. It's about time I have a voice in this arena, and nobody, and I'm going to say that clearly, nobody will stop me from speaking what I feel and what I know is fact. And what I know is fact is faith manipulation is one of the most harmful manipulative tactics that is used. And again, not clowning on anybody's religious beliefs. Your religion is up to you, between you and whoever you believe in. But since when did God's love cost you something? Since when did you have to tithe to an internet channel to get God's love? I'm just curious. And if you can answer me all of that, we can have a conversation. Now, I know that Jim Terry is prone to pop in comment sections when the discussion has something to do with him. I'm not interested in a conversation with him. He's shown what he is. If you haven't, we will look over a Rolling Stone article about him. I'm not super familiar with all the ins and outs of everything he has done. I don't need to. A piece of shit is a piece of shit is a piece of shit. People who spread misinformation are dangerous. And especially in an arena where you have missing victims, families, all of this. So I hate to be this way. By the way, if you're new here, my name's Becky. I don't put up with bullshit. I say it like it is. I'm a little blunt for a lot of people's liking. So that's just me. I talk with my hands a lot too. It's a Midwestern thing. I am Norwegian to the core. So there's that. Let's say hello. Hey, Jennifer. Yeah, I know why I'm here. I don't need anybody else to justify why I'm here or what I'm doing. CCK, quick switcheroo, Natalie, sketchy as fuck. Welcome in. Kate as fuck. Kate's the one. Kate, why are you here watching me? You don't like me. I talk with my hands. Doesn't it bother you? That, speaking of the talking with the hands, it was Kate that said that. Outlaw trucker. It drives me nuts too. It's just a habit. I always like, that's why I try to keep something in my hands, because I do talk with my hands. I'm very animated. Hey, B Tim, Kathy P, Don Caps, welcome in, everybody. I'm just giving Kate shit. It drives me nuts too. It's one of those things that just happens. Outlaw trucker, Miss Lee, 0. Amethyst, it's me, Amber Lee, Sorry Night. Clover, Army Tanker's wife. Mimi of 8, Marcy, Texas Tiff, Lady Pants, CK, Hilda, Hildy. I called you Hilda. Hello from Norway. I love that you're here. Mothership, Helen, Proud Mimi, Karen. Trying to read some of these as I'm going. Just observing. Revival. Laura Jean, Marie, Kathy, Nini, Happy Life J. You're in Sturgis. That's great. First week of August is always a blast in Sturgis. Hey, Cheryl. Oh, he's a pain in the butt. That's Kiki, by the way. Hey, Andy, Watcher of Crazy. That's a good fit. That's a good name. Hey, Kim C. Did I get everybody? Zoya. I really do need to just, I need to just get glasses. That's it. The blue lights help a little bit, but not much. Swindig. Just cheesed. Discheesed. Oh, yeah, I'm going to butcher that. You guys in these names. What are you guys doing to me? Lacey, yeah, nothing compares. Nat. You're Swedish. Kim O. Look at all the new names in here. Welcome in, y'all. TLC. A lot of new names I've never seen before. Lanky, the good Alley. Daddy's baby girl. Kay. If I missed anybody, sorry, I missed you. There's a lot of new names in here. Welcome in, y'all. All right, here we go. I was like, I'm going to butcher this. Okay, so we're going to go back. So what happened, just to kind of lay the groundwork of why I'm even opening this store, is I was going over The Sounds of Freedom, the movie that everybody is promoting, and promoting misinformation by promoting that movie. Again, that has a whole lot to do. We have still a ton to get through with that. There are so many pieces of that. So I opened up that discussion the other day and I was trying to explain the foundation of why misinformation is dangerous and how harmful it is to victims. It is every way, shape, or form. If you want to go see the movie, it has nothing to do with that. It's the passive misinformation and how they're doing it. Anyways, that's the discussion we were a part of. It was really heavy. It's a really heavy discussion. When you talk about religion and all these things, it's a lot of people are really bothered by it. Totally fine. But I decided, oh, let's go ahead and laugh because Tim Ballard and Tyler Feller kind of remind me of each other. I live in Utah, for those of you that don't know either. So I am immersed in the Mormon culture every single day. So I figured, let's go laugh at Tyler Feller because that guy is a clown. And I had caught him a few different times over the last year that I've been on YouTube. And he was always like so unbelievably ridiculous that I figured it was a good laugh. Well, I happened to pull a stream that wasn't only laughable, but it's extremely disturbing. So then I started looking a little bit further and pulled another one. I've only done 2 so far on him, but there is so much more to this situation than just his belief systems. That is the minimal issues with him. His connections to all these other people, the spread of misinformation. So let's bring it back to what people can kind of process, okay? Because it seems like people have a hard time processing facts. And people have a hard time processing reality. People have a hard time understanding that other people's trauma is other people's trauma, and they are entitled to that trauma because of religious things. So we're going to dial it back a little bit, take the faith out of it a little bit, because people seem to shut it off when you are trying to make them understand that misinformation is misinformation. So we're going to dial it back. I'm going to pull it back to when Jim joined Tyler Feller and spread misinformation in the Dylan Rounds case. Now, I have to say that this is full of misinformation. From top to bottom, it is completely slanderous. It is vile. It's disturbing. It is, I don't even, there's not enough words to describe what it has happened here. So we're just going to let him talk. But Tyler promotes misinformation because he's got a very self-serving need in all of this. This isn't about his ministry. This is about Tyler's personal growth. And he found one just like him. Okay. So again, this is from Tyler Feller's channel. It is called Shocking New Details from Jim Terry in the Dylan Rounds case. And again, please, no offense to Dylan's family. Please keep the comments cute or keep it mute. We don't put up with BS around here. So if you want to spread BS, you might as well just see yourself out. All right, let's go.
Well, hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to our bonus.
A little bit of background on Jim Terry. He is a self-proclaimed PI. When I say a PI, that is very loosely. In the state that he is licensed to be a PI, you don't have to have any formal education. He will explain some of that. He's going to explain who he is and his lack of knowledge and lack of understanding. He's basically kind of a shock jock. He says things that are completely outlandish, not factual. Again, he claims to be some sort of arena football star. He played for a team in Billings, Montana, actually. And if you only knew what a shithole that was, like, it is, he's a lot, but he's going to explain more about who he is.
This stream that we're doing tonight, we already did one stream where we covered all the information that we could that was up to date in the Dylan Rounds case. And literally in the middle of that stream, I said, hey, I would love it if I could have a conversation with either the family or Jim Terry, who's been working as the PI in this situation. And my phone rang and it was Jim Terry while I said that on the stream, and I answered it. And so he'll be joining us in just a minute. I don't know where he's at. I just got off the phone with him and he said that he's going to be hopping on the stream. And so as soon as he hops on the stream, we'll be jumping into that conversation. In the meanwhile, I'll go through some of the super chats that are coming in. Sheila says, last one today, waiting to hear PI. Hope it's good. Me too, Sheila. I really think that it's going to be a great conversation with him. And I hope that you guys participate and ask questions. And when you guys put questions on there, I'm going to do my best to catch them, especially the most compelling ones, and put them on the screen. That way we can hear from him. Some of you guys have questions, and he's been boots on the ground. He's been doing a lot of great research. He's been having conversations with as many people as possible. And he has a great track record and a great history
No, he does not. That is all bullshit. Tyler obviously did not vet his source. He didn't vet who he was about to bring on. Now, again, Dylan Rounds is still missing, unfortunately. Yes, charges are filed on James Brenner. There is a lot going on in that case, which we can touch on a little bit, the factual details of what is known, but they are going to absolutely take every opportunity to take shots at Dylan and his family in this stream. Again, this is nothing to do with the family. This is how harmful this misinformation and people who absolutely have no concern about others, and it's a self-serving mission, go about spreading misinformation because they're just in it for the clicks and views.
Of success in other cases that he's worked on, and this is going to be one of those situations where I think we're going to be able to learn and glean a lot from him. Kenneth, thank you so much for that super chat. You're getting the super chat, super sticker train going already. Thank you so much for doing.
Choo choo, buckle up, bitches. Just donate your money to him and he'll bless you and honor you.
And that Donna says, Tyler, thank you for going the extra mile tonight. We appreciate you. Blessings. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on the stream and being here for us and with us. Hotspot says, send some love. Thank you, Hotspot. Appreciate you. We miss seeing you on the live. I know you said earlier that you've been busy and having to work, but you're able to join us now at this.
Let's speed this stupid son of a bitch up. Sorry, I cuss a lot. I cuss like a truck driver. I'm probably going to take you to the church of the Holy Spirit activate today, but it is what it is. I just have zero tolerance for manipulative men like this. And why do I have that? One day I'll share a little bit more. But I've been raised around people like Tyler Feller who use religion to hide behind nonstop. So again, I excuse my behavior over this one, but this triggers the shit out of me.
Strange time that we're doing a stream that we don't normally do one at. So I appreciate you hopping on here with us, and thank you for sending that super chat, and thank you for being a part of our community for 9 months now. Can you guys believe that we've been having this stream going for that long, for 9 months? My goodness, that's insane. Monkey's Girl says, I love Jim. He is honest and straightforward. I couldn't agree more. I mean,
so Tyler's saying that Jim Terry of all people is honest and straightforward. And if you don't know, you'll know soon. The guy is full of BS.
At least in the straightforward part, and I am operating under the assumption that he's honest. But I do think he's compelling, and he shares some information that I want to hear from. And I enjoyed hearing the conversations that I've seen him do on other channels. So I'm glad to be able to be a part of that again. Kathy says, thanks for the late night stream, Tyler. You know what? I used to be like the world's largest night owl. I pretty much am a night owl still, but I've been going to bed early. I can't tell you the reason why. I've been going to bed early, and not tonight. Your boy ain't going to bed early tonight because we got an exciting stream.
It's your boy
ahead of us. And I know some of you guys, especially those of you that live on the West Coast, you're like, this is right in your zone. This is better timing for you. So I'm so glad that you're here. Heidi Joy, thank you so much for that super sticker. I bless you. I honor you. Thank you so much for sending that along. Again, as soon as Jim Terry pops up on, we'll definitely be going live. And well, we are live, but I'll be adding.
Lady Pants, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I'm going to play you a sticker because we're going to get off on a good start here. Okay, here we go. Seems like everybody's got a price. I wonder how they sleep at night. And don't worry, these motherfuckers sleep very well at night. It ain't no thing but a chicken wing for them to e-bag and grift on everyone.
Him into the conversation. And one of the things that he said he thinks would be really compelling for us to do, which I agree, I think it's going to be a good conversation, is to go through some of that interview that both of the parents did together and then unpack it and hear his perspective. He said, because there's some things that were being said on there in the parent interview that does need to at least be heard from another side. AZ Native says, I can't wait for this. AZ Native, it's good to see you. I'm excited about it as well. And I'm so glad that you're here with us on the stream tonight. All right.
All right, that's the end of his super chats. He has nothing.
What are you guys anticipating tonight? I said, who's excited about the stream? And 91% of you said yes. So, and then go ahead, if you guys have any questions on the front end that you're like, this has to be answered by the end of the stream, let me know what that might be down in the chat section. Melissa, I see you. Thank you for joining the Feller fam. We're so glad to have you. And Jim's on here now. Hey, Jim, what's up, man?
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. You know, earlier today, whenever I got that phone call from you, I had literally said on my stream, I said, I wish I could either talk to Jim or the family or both about what's going on, because all I'm able to do is process information that's being shown either through other YouTube streams or on the news and try to make sense of it. And I don't know about you, but you could probably sympathize with how those of us on the outside are feeling. But my goodness, there's a lot of it that just isn't adding up. And you've been boots on the ground, and that's super helpful and impactful. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for shedding light on this case. And just as a little bit of a preface and a background, I searched your name, and you've had some massive successes in some other cases. And I think that's something that I think people would like to hear from you. If you can.
Here he goes. He's going to spew his bullshit. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, Jim Terry is actually off YouTube. He lost his YouTube channel after the Rolling Stone article came out. He's done a lot of terrible things to a lot of people. There are a lot of victims in my comment section of Jim Terry's right now. So feel free to, in your opinion or allegedly, point people in the direction. If you do have facts on him that you would like people to see, if you've done streams on him, feel free to let them know in the chat, because knowledge is power, and the less people we have around like this, the better we are.
Just share a little bit about your background, how long you've been doing this, why you got into it, and then some of those successes, because I think that's going to allow people to make.
Hildy, thank you so much. You guys, thank you so much. That was super sweet of you too. Kathy, thank you so much. You guys, you are too kind. Seriously, thank you so much. I will play more buttons at the end. But again, thank you so much.
Maybe put their guard down a little bit, and I want to give you that opportunity.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. You almost make it sound like I've actually accomplished something. First of all, I have no law enforcement background whatsoever.
No.
I have no military background whatsoever. And I could give a rat's left behind about true crime. I'm not a true crime fan. I don't watch Investigation Discovery, 48 Hours. I don't even watch Ozark. I don't watch any of that stuff. To me, this is.
I ain't even got Netflix.
Yeah, so I mean, I just, my background, excuse me, is actually professional football. I am now currently the longest running arena football player in the country. Many people don't know what that is. We play the offset of the National Football League, and even at the advanced age of 45, I'm a place kicker, and that's what my profession has been for the last 2 decades. So it's not like I'm a school teacher. I work at Subway, and I into truth crime, and I became a private investigator about 6-7 years ago.
He found an easy way to grift and make money off of people at their lowest moments, in my opinion. That's all he's done. He found an easy opportunity to make money off of victims and their families at the worst moments of their lives, when people are vulnerable and seeking help and answers from anyone. That's why Jim's involved in this. That's it. That's all.
Some of my buddies were bounty hunters. They were skip tracers, and they said that I thought I'd be pretty good at this. I don't look like it here, but I'm about 6'3", 230, and I have the ability to carry a handgun. A lot of these guys were going to Mexico and New Mexico, dog the bounty hunter stuff. It just didn't appeal to me, but I looked into the private investigating thing, and I opened up a very unique business. I went and got my education in the state of Florida. So I had to go to school for this. Went back to college actually with my mom. I got the certificate in Florida, but when I got the certificate in Florida, they didn't tell you that in the state of Florida, you had to understudy somebody for 2 years. Well, I'm making over 6 figures a year playing arena.
So he claims he has education out of Florida. He claims he has a certificate out of Florida, but then you have to internship, apprenticeship under somebody for 2 years in the PI arena in Florida. He didn't want to do that. So he found a workaround, went to one of the states.
The football,
He'll explain it all.
Going to spend the next 2 years and 40 hours a week working for free to be a PI out of the state of Florida. That is my cell number and my business number right there. It's a Florida number, but my business is based out of Biloxi, Mississippi. Currently, there are 6 states in the country in which you only need a business license to be a licensed private investigator. So I took the education, and instead of waiting 2 years, just opened up the business with the education right away in the state of Mississippi. So those states are Mississippi, Idaho, South Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, and Alaska. Right now, my friend, you could take that.
Imagine that. Imagine those being the states that you don't have to have an education. You just have to have a business license. I've lived in a couple of those states, and I'm next door to a couple of them.
That red hat in your YouTube channel, and you could become a private investigator in Mississippi with a business license. The difference between Florida and Mississippi, in Florida, there's 5,900 licenses.
Tyler's got it figured out, Jim. He don't need you. He turned his whole YouTube channel into a fucking church, the Church of Tyler Feller Ministries. He don't need your advice. He's got protections under the government because of his grifting ass church.
Private investigators in the state of Mississippi, there's 38 of us, and the licensing is a business license. So I only do missing persons in recovery. I have a brother that's a production guy out in Los Angeles. He makes major motion pictures. He got me involved.
The dude that wears a sock over his head, nylons, because he's so scared of people looking and seeing his face because it's horrifying. That dude, that brother that's so in touch with Hollywood that wears nylons over his face. goes by Mr. X. Okay.
Did a couple of celebrity cases where the first one involved a professional wrestler named Jake the Snake Roberts. Everybody follows him. So I kind of got a niche into doing celebrity cases. All I do is missing persons in recovery. And what that means is I specialize in 3 different types of missing persons cases. Like I said, it's just me and it's a special niche market. I don't do cheating housewives, bodyguard work, lobster serving. I look for people of minority. I went to and graduated from Clark Atlanta University. I was the only white student out of 17,000. It's called an HBCU. It's where I played my college football. So I got into minority missing persons cases. When a Puerto Rican girl or a black kid goes missing, it's a totally different missing persons case than when Gabby Petito could be.
Exactly. You're exactly right. That was a big point of conversation.
Shut the fuck up, Tyler. Just shut up.
During that case.
Well,
you just sit there for a moment and shut up.
And it also has a lot to do with how the family reacts to the missing persons. I could defend Gabby Petito's family all day, but I know the other side. If you're a 5'9", 230-pound Puerto Rican woman who's 24 years old, you are not going to get the press that an incredibly good-looking 22-year-old blonde from Ohio State is going to get.
I have to agree with him here. Unfortunately, there is very disproportionate reporting when it comes to missing persons cases. Minorities do not get as much attention as they absolutely should. I will give him that.
People like to see good-looking people go missing, especially good-looking white people. It's the same reason guys will stop and help a Cindy Crawford on the side of the road with a flat tire and not me. The second thing I do is people that go missing with a vehicle. Yeah. If somebody goes missing with a car, I am your guy. And the third is celebrity missing persons in recovery. So if Tom Brady lost a Super Bowl ring, or if Nicolas Cage, it's a real interesting case, lost $1 million comic book, I'm your guy there too. And it is weaved into a lot of different cases. And it led us to Dylan Rounds in 7 years. And I don't mean this braggadocious, but I have a special type of business. I have never not found or been involved in the case the person was found.
Right.
All right, chat. You want to correct him on that?
Right. Never once. I do not charge an hourly wage, which is unheard of. I charge a one-time lump sum fee at the beginning, and that's very important with the Dylan Rounds case that you're getting ready to talk about, and that's it. If it's
So in my opinion, the reason why he charges an upfront fee and a flat fee is because 99% of the time he is fired or the family stops working with him, which you will see in this. Yeah, exactly. This is, yeah. And again, you guys, there is a Rolling Stone article on him that breaks down some of this stuff. If you haven't seen it, I will pull it up as long as we have enough time at the end. I just wanted to lay the foundation of Tyler, who he associates with in true crime, the spread of misinformation. Jim Terry plays a role in this. There's so much that I'm even learning. So I figured let's take it back a step and try to take and just focus on misinformation in a case for a moment, because this is problematic as fuck.
It takes me a year, 5 years, 2 years. That's it. I work one case at a time. That's why my success rate is what it is. A cop could have 250 cases on his desk. I'm working on Dylan Rounds. I've been paid up front, and I'm not trying to drag the family out to make more ends. And that's what we're at here.
And you attack it like a bulldog with a lot of tenacity.
You have to.
Yeah.
I don't trust a private investigator in a suit. I don't trust a private investigator that's been a cop. And I'm going to tell you why. They're looking for a crime. Yeah. What people don't realize, my friend, and I don't mean to be long-winded.
This is from June 23rd, 2022.
But there's a lot to get out here, is that a missing person, how old of a guy are you? Can I ask?
No, I'm keep it secret from people.
By the way, Tyler Feller, none of this is doxing you. Tyler Feller is a public figure. He is a pastor. All of his information out there. He's in his 30s. I will say that. Again, none of this is doxing him. He's put all of his information out here publicly on his own. So there's that.
I'm young.
I can't tell if you're 22 or 35, but let's say you're over the age of 18.
Okay.
You're over the age of 18 and you decide to get up one day and go live with another woman or go live with another guy or join the circus. There might be people that miss you. Your viewers might miss you, but it's not a crime. Everybody watches television and thinks if a person goes missing, it's a crime. Now, if a 4-year-old goes missing, which are cases I don't touch, I don't do children cases. I've been called to do, is it Summer Wells?
Yeah. Okay.
I have been called countless times to touch that case. I won't do it. I don't do children cases or people that leave the country.
Yeah.
And so if a 4-year-old goes missing, there's a good chance she didn't get up and move to Kansas City.
Right.
So that could be a crime or is looked at differently than a 16-year-old girl with daddy issues who wanted to go be with her 21-year-old boyfriend in Seattle.
A 16-year-old girl with daddy issues. Listen to how he's talking about young children. Yes, there are always runaways, unfortunately, but listen to the disrespect that he is already spreading on potential victims or how he views them. And look at this little prick sitting next to him. Just, yeah. Okay, remember what Tyler stands for. This is the church. This is a church, right? This is what he claims. And he's allowing this in his church. Okay.
This is not a crime, or it wasn't when I was a hold of it. So it's why law enforcement doesn't jump on these things, and kind of what makes it a little bit confusing for people that watch TV and think, Steve's missing, he's 23, let's go find him. No, I find people every day that didn't want to be found, and they wanted to ditch their family or their children. It happens every day.
One of the things I'm curious about, and then even how you're involved in this case, are you allowed to be part of this case because the family is from Idaho? Because you didn't mention Nevada or Utah in those states that.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and I never entered the state. So, for example, one of my big cases, one of my staple cases, one of the flagship cases I had was a Puerto Rican girl named Gloria Alvarado, not a licensed private investigator in Michigan, and I never left my couch in Mississippi and got her to be returned to the detective. Now, they fired the detective the next day. Crime Stoppers didn't pay me. I can't tell you how many times Crime Stoppers has owed me money. They won't pay me.
That should say a whole lot to people. If Crime Stoppers is not paying him, there's a reason for it. All right. Tyler also introduced him as Boots on the Ground. Boots on the Ground. Think about all the things that you're hearing, the difference. Just watch.
But I solved that. Now, some people were like, well, wait a second. You're not a licensed PI in Michigan. I didn't open up a business in Michigan. I never entered the state. I'm allowed to make calls. There's aspects of this that were in Idaho. The family is from Idaho, which gave me reciprocity to look at this and make phone calls in Utah and Nevada.
So in a
make phone calls in Utah and Nevada. Again, not boots on the ground.
That I have about this case is because it is kind of right on the border of Nevada and Utah, it's almost like you're playing hot potato with the case, and neither state wants it. Neither county sheriff's office really wants to dive deep into it. And they keep deflecting back and forth to each other. Like, no, it's yours. No, it's yours. His last ping was in your state. Well, he was last seen in your state. And that's really frustrating. And it sounds like they just keep dropping the ball. And I'm not one to talk negatively about law enforcement ever, because I respect what they do. But it does seem like in this situation that they're not attacking it with the same level of tenacity that you have, for example.
Well, that you have. First of all, law enforcement keeps a lot of stuff close to the wrist. They have to. So these clowns have no idea what law enforcement is actually doing in Nevada, Utah, Idaho, any of them. They have no fucking clue. Let's be factual here. So they're just, because it's not going how they, in their pastor and PI minds, law enforcement isn't living up to what they think they should be doing, then something's got to be wrong, right? Fucking idiots. I swear, these guys.
That I did. The family no longer wants to work with me because of what I uncovered. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of that. I do want to talk about that. And I got the video pulled up.
Let me interject here real quick. And that's Dylan Rounds there. By the way, there's a kid missing 20 miles away, 30 miles away named Aiden Klum. They look like twins. His family retained me as well. It was the only time I've ever worked two cases at one time. Both families will not work with me now because of what I found.
No, it's nothing to do with what you found. It's the horrific rumors and BS that you constantly spread, the harassment of the victims and their families, the insane allegations that you make that have no fact basis. That's why people don't want to work with you, because you're an absolute creep, in my opinion, and you victimize and re-victimize families at their worst moments.
Both boys have not had one needle pushed on the bar since the families. I don't want to say they fired me because I was paid in full, like I told you. But there's a boy named Aiden Klum, for all your listeners out there. You go ahead and look him up. He's virtually gotten no press. He's out of California. But yeah, I was retained by the grandparents of Dylan Rounds. And
pay attention to the details that he's going to give about how he was even retained. So he was never retained by the mom or the dad, by Justin or Candace.
The aunt of Dylan Rounds. What's important to remember is that they hired me because they were sick of the mother. This is a very jarbled up, estranged family, and they do have a Mormon background.
By the way, they are not what he claims either. Please let a lot of what he's going to say about this family go in one ear and out the other. If you don't understand this, please go do your due diligence. Candace and Justin have gone through hell and back because of YouTubers like this. And what was done in this case is absolutely disturbing.
Which is the Church of the Latter-day Saints. I'm Catholic. I've learned a lot about Mormons over the last couple of weeks. That plays very big into why they did what they did to me. And I am not bound by any HIPAA law or any...
Has nothing to do with them having a Mormon background.
Sort of an attorney-client privilege. I can talk about whatever I want, when I want, which has also got people in trouble in this case. But so the cops, let me real quick be honest with you here. We're talking about an area, whether you're in Utah or Nevada, that is an absolute dump. This area is horrible. There's 220 people in the area that Dylan Rounds went missing.
And that's between Montello and Lucin.
Right. 74 of them are registered sex offenders.
That is not actually correct either. Box Elder County does have quite a few registered sex offenders. It is a very desolate, remote area. There is farms out there. It is a lot of campers. It is a lot of deserted area. But he's not giving accurate stats.
Wow. That means
and I can pull those up if you want me to.
If you go into that town, and those are the known ones. If you go into that town, every other person you see is a pedophile.
Yeah, and then probably the rest are children. So basically every adult.
Well, and this kid looks 13 years old. He's 19, but when he was there, he was 16, 17. See, he was there when he was a minor. Yeah. And that plays a big part into this too. But if you're a police officer in that area, and I've had people say, I won't come forward with information I know. I'll tell the private investigator. I won't tell the cops. It takes the cops 2 hours to get to me. If I rat somebody out, they're 50 miles away. So you're a police officer in one of the biggest rat holes in the country. I didn't even know people live like this in the United States. Mm-hmm. And you're out there making $31,000 to $32,000 a year. You really think you're getting the cream of the crop in law enforcement?
Right.
The sheriff is making $46,000 a year. I can make more at Denny's being a shift manager. Why would you?
By the way, just in case any of you are following this, Lori Vallow got life in prison without the possibility of parole today. Just so you guys know, that's the update that just came through. She was given life in prison without parole.
You want to deal with meth heads, then you've got a good area where they push all the crap to one area. Let them sit out there and kill each other, smoke dope all day, kill each other on drug deals. What do we care? As long as they don't come over here, they're all pedophiles. Mm-hmm. So what you've got is a lot of police that never wanted to deal with any of the stuff there because it was far enough away they didn't have to. They're defunded. See, a lot of people, and I'm not on the right or on the left, and I'm going to tell you right now, you defund the cops.
That's not true. None of this is true.
Take police away, missing persons cases, especially teenagers, is the last thing they're worrying about. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to go look for your 16-year-old kid that disappeared, even if she might have been abducted, because they don't have the amount of people and they're looking for a crime, not a missing person. So that area, you're not going to get the cream of the crop as if you were in Columbus, Ohio, or Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. One thing from my perspective, just hearing what you're saying, understanding some of the background there, is there like a cartel influence there, MS-13 influence, gang?
Oh, these people, the ignorance.
Influence.
Here we go with the Idaho 4 shit that they've been twisting too. That's another thing. If you don't know, people like Tyler, other creators have been trying to twist and turn the Idaho 4 into having connections to cartel and all this other BS. This is where these rumors get started. This is where they get foundation and then they get ran with. And by the way, I'll let him.
Where's the drugs coming from? Who's pushing them? Are there local people cooking it? And then every once in a while they're dying from cooking. Like, what's the story there? Where's it coming from?
It's all white trash.
Yeah.
It's all white trash. I wish I had something sexier for you. And there's guys from Mexico over the border with huge tattoos. Now, I think the drugs that are coming from across that border. That border's wide open. I've been down there. I've seen New Mexico, Arizona, Texas. I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care what station you watch. Those drugs are pouring in. And the missing persons and the kids that are going missing because of it, let me put it to you this way. Before the pandemic, I got a call or two, maybe every other week. Mm-hmm. We take this case, we do this. My business has jumped to almost 1,800% since the pandemic. Kids were sick of their parents. They're meeting.
He's so full of shit. This is just incredibly ridiculous.
Guys online, they're stuck. They're not in school. They're dropping out of school. They're running away. People are getting sick of their families. The mental illness is across the board. A lot of these kids are on medicine. Aiden Klum, it's very well known. He was on a lot of antidepressants. His family didn't even know it. We found that out. He disappeared over there near this kid. There's just a whole lot of bad stuff going on. Paranoia, people with mental illness think that the government's after them, and they're disappearing. Yeah. This area is primarily white trash that go there and they get on what's called BLM land, which I only knew.
Bureau of Land Management.
Stood for Black Lives Matter, has nothing to do with it.
Oh. No, BLM stands for Bureau of Land Management.
Government land where you and I could go take an RV, stick it out there, and nobody's allowed to tell us to move, and we don't have to pay crap for being there.
Like dispersed camping, basically.
Basically, you see a lot of these van lifers doing it. It looks glamorous. Yeah, go hang around there for the next 30 days if you're a young kid, see how that works out.
Yeah, people were like, people ask me sometimes, like, what do you think? Should I join the van life and go try to do this for a summer? I'm like, no way. Read the story. Single mom out there doing that? No way, Jose. Bad things.
Yeah, stay in Tampa, Florida if you're going to do that. Don't go into the middle of the desert.
Stay in your apartment, Tyler. I think you're a little thin-skinned for reality.
The van by yourself if you're a 25-year-old male or female. They don't usually work out well. They make horror movies about it. The best way to describe where this kid went missing is a movie called The Hills Have Eyes.
I've watched a ton of the drone footage from where Dylan Rounds was missing, and I looked at his property. It looks like a wasteland, and I don't even understand how he was farming it. Like, I'm like, what's there to farm out of this land? It looks like nothing.
He was growing a crop, I believe, that was going to be used to feed cattle.
What's the money situation? Well, that'd be probably alfalfa or something. But what's the money situation that was going on? His grandfather bought the land, loaned him $50,000. He made $30,000, or what?
Wow, has that already made it around the internet? Yeah, I broke that. And I broke that after the family released me from this. Didn't want to do business with me anymore.
He broke that after the family had cut ties with him. He started releasing stuff. Most of it had no fact basis behind any of it. But because he was let go and they wanted nothing to do with him whatsoever, to seek revenge, he did a tour spreading misinformation, released a bunch of stuff, in my opinion, that was not factual, to cause nothing but chaos and confusion, and it harmed the victim and the family.
So what had happened was the young man's parents are separated. He has 2 younger siblings, and I found out recently the mom, who is creeping people out all over the internet, abandoned her children about 7 years ago. This is widely documented. It was a family member and a co-worker at the father's trucking company, because I knew there was something off about her. She would not even talk to me for the first 3 or 4 days. Let me give you an example. She was such a
Again, this was supposed to be about Dylan Rounds. Dylan Rounds was missing. And you'll understand that he is taking the opportunity to slander and trash the parents.
Control freak. That when the grandparents, who bought the property for Dylan, let me start from the beginning. Dylan Rounds' grandparents bought him that property behind his parents' back.
Yes, Amethyst.
I mean, that's a pretty nice gift to buy a 16.
That's a hefty gift, yeah. 600 acres.
Well, and then not to tell the parents that you did that. I mean, I could see grandma and grandpa slipping you a 20 and saying, "Don't tell mom and dad." They bought him a farm and put that kid into a meat grinder with all those pedophiles at 17. They
listen to what he just said. They put him in a meat grinder. Listen to the verbiage that he is using over a missing child. And this was supposedly a PI. Granted, it's all bullshit, but
I didn't know, and I felt terrible for the grandfather.
In a wasteland, yeah.
And this is in the Church of Feller.
It gets this gift. It creates a lot of fights. They wanted him to go to college. They wanted him to finish high school. He did not finish high school. He got a GED. I guess that's finishing, but he didn't finish. No prom, no girlfriends, no friends, no nothing. And that's big too. And they put him out there.
I had one friend that he went to Mexico with. JD was his name.
Yeah, I didn't talk to that kid. But if they were pretty close to him, he never reached out to me. Maybe there was a buddy. You know, I've talked to more of his friends and people that were his friends that were in their 60s than I did that were in their teens or the 20s. So basically, they got him. Well, that pissed the family off. Mom and dad didn't want the grandfather buying that for him.
Yeah.
So that created a problem. Now, fast forward 2 years, he disappears because the people out there. Well, now the parents are upset at the grandparents, and the grandparents are doing anything. Well, here comes the mom after abandoning her 3 children. She dropped the children off.
Has nothing to do with any of this. Even if that was the case, that would have nothing to do with the fact of Dylan being missing. Nothing. Can I say that again? A mother of a missing child. Of course, we watch Candace be drugged all over. Another Candace, Summer's mom, because people dislike her on the daily basis, even though the child's still missing.
At Justin's house, the father's, and didn't come back for 3.5 years. I also uncovered that she owes $2.6 million worth of lawsuits and liens around the country. I thought that was pretty important, seeing how if it was a gambling debt or a drug debt, people would think it has something to do with it. So my job as a private investigator is not necessarily always to...
Are you fucking kidding me? It just gets worse and worse.
Solve a case. It's to bring the family information that they don't have or that the cops don't have time to look into. And the biggest piece of that puzzle was what I found out about this kid's homosexuality.
Oh, okay. Trigger warning. By the way, there is no documented fact basis to back any of the upcoming claims up whatsoever. But this caused incredible havoc on the internet. This is absolutely slanderous. This is absolutely defamation. This is about a victim, a missing child. Because this prick, Jim Terry, got in his fee-fees because nobody wanted to work with him because he's an absolute travesty, an ignorant fool. The guy is dumber than a box of rocks. Kiki is more capable of anything than this fool is, in my opinion, and you can go fuck off, Jim. Tyler Feller is letting him promote this narrative in his Tyler Feller Ministries because that's what he does. 2 days later, we're going to get into that too. Faithful Friday. But they're going to talk about this child's, and I'm going to call him a child. He was 19. I think he's 19. His sexual identity. This is hard. This was, I feel free to feel however you want and say whatever you feel.
Sexuality. And that killed him.
Yeah, and I think that that's interesting, right? Because the alleged allegation apparently would be that he was in a relationship with this 60-year-old man. And I found it interesting that that man was the first one to call the parents. And by the way, I might play devil's advocate
Tyler, go ahead. He went ahead and spread that himself.
Get a little bit as far as like, because I haven't talked to Candace personally, and there's people like Rocky Like a Cobb who's saying like, "Are you going to let this go? This is toxic. It's slander." Well, it's not.
Whoa. How is it slander?
That's what I was going to say. It's like it's not slander if it's true. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what else isn't slander? If it's true, you're a fucking dumbass, Tyler Feller, and a grifting fool. It's not slander because it's true.
So, but I do think
why is it important to the case? That's the question I get the most. Well, who cares if he's gay? He's missing. Come on. See, that is that person right there. And like I said, I'm not on the right or the left. Okay. And that always plays into this stuff now, right? I think Republicans and Democrats are both the problem, and then you're not wrong. You know what that guy is?
I agree with that one. Yeah.
He's what you call triggered. Right. That's a guy that would be in the office.
Yeah.
And if you say something that doesn't necessarily he's looking to be offended instead of shutting his mouth and realizing the most important thing is to find the kid. The most important thing to find the missing person is the days and the weeks leading up to his disappearance, not 3 days afterwards. And if me telling you that I believe he had a sexual relationship with a 60-year-old man offends you, and that's more important than how we find this kid, then you're the one with the problem, not me, because I didn't think there was anything wrong with being gay. But you start calling somebody gay.
You see how they twist it? These both of these people, they are exactly the same. They are just, and when I say dressed, I don't even mean physically dressed. Their grift is the same. They have the same type of tactics, misinformation, clicks and views, the shock stuff. One just plays on the faith. One plays on the Howard Stern shocking BS. They're exactly the same. They're no different. They will circle talk you into believing some of the bullshit that they're actually spewing. And unfortunately, that has caused great harm to a lot of cases.
Who hasn't outed themselves, and all of a sudden you're insulting them. I didn't think it was that way.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily get into too much of that topic right now, but it's a part of this case that's important to talk about. And I don't necessarily think that's slander, but I'm more to speaking from a perspective of Candace's situation. She's not here. And I don't know the situation that led from the separation between her and Dylan and her kids. But even if that did happen, and I've been in a
separation, it was an abandonment.
But even if there was an abandonment, like I could still see a situation where a mom would be very upset if their kid's gone missing, and probably even carry so much more guilt knowing I abandoned my kid and then this thing happened. Was it the maternal grandparents who bought the farm?
Maternal. That's mom's side. Paternal.
Mom's side, yeah.
Father's.
Oh, so the father's side bought the farm.
The father's side, yes. It's the Rounds family. The mom's last name is Cooley. And she is pretty much, here's why I say what I say. When the family hired
Autumn, he literally did. He said it's not slander if it's true. He repeated the rumor, said it's not slander if it's true, and then wants to change the subject. By the way, his comments are shut off on this video. I wonder why.
I said, good. First, I was told to call the parents. Before this thing got as big as it is now, I called both parents. A media outlet. I had a case up in that neck of the woods with a boy named Anthony Smith, and I rescued him from a militia group in Bad Axe, Michigan. Didn't
more bullshit
get much press, but I got him out of there. A media outlet called and said, will you help these parents at least give them a nickel's worth of free advice? I said, sure. Called the mom up. She hung up on me. Called the dad. He talked to me for 5 minutes. And I said, hey, by the way, FaceTime his phone. If it rings, it might be on Wi-Fi. He could purposely have left. He hung up on me, never called me again. The media outlet called me back the next day. They said, how did it go? You going to help him? So they hung up on me. He said, what? Let me call the grandparents and the aunt. Finally, the aunt got a hold of me, which would be Justin Rounds' sister. And she worked with me for 3 or 4 days, and the entire time threw the mother under the bus. I says, why can't I talk to the parents? No. We don't even want, for the first 4 days I was retained and hired, they were telling the mother stuff that I was finding out, which I saw her talking about on the news. And she wasn't allowed to know that there was a private investigator because they didn't want her to feel like they were taking the ball from her. It was the most bizarre thing I had ever seen. So I've had the curtain pulled back and seen a little bit more. They threw her under the bus. Once they finally went to her and said, hey, by the way, the information we've been getting from is this loudmouth, fast-talking PA or PI.
He doesn't even know what he is. PA. He called himself a PA. What are you, Jim Terry? I thought you were a PI. Well, you're a terrible one at that. There's so much bullshit that he's just thrown out there. So much. And again, the only reason, in my opinion, that he even did these tours and Tyler was willing to let him on was for some clicks and views. And Jim was seeking revenge because the family absolutely was vocal about, no, these are not factual rumors. He is spreading stuff. So he got his little feelers hurt and went running wild with theories and speculation and misinformation all over as revenge. That, again, is my opinion, just watching things that I've seen now, he absolutely went hard for that family.
And I was in PA at the time. You might want to talk to him. She
thing.
got on the phone with me. The first thing she did when she got on the phone was through the father under the bus. He choked me. He beat me up. He punched me. He did this. Then she's.
And again, he is not showing proof of any of these conversations. I know there was one recorded call that I think he did release, but there is nothing. This is just him spewing, and people are running with it as fact.
This is, why would anybody hurt this sweet little kid? She goes, you don't know my son. He's an elitist. If my son has a better truck than you, he's going to say it. If his crops are better, he's going to say it. Well, you put that kid out there where people have nothing. They don't even have running water. He looks like Donald Trump walking around out there with $100,000 in his back pocket. He's got a bullseye on his chest. So they all threw each other under the bus for the first 3 days as I'm trying to uncover this. And that's where it started to get a little weird.
So, yes, that's great. And I appreciate you folks that are in the chat section and a part of this conversation. If you get angry by anything, I just say hold your horses. We got to listen and be respectful and hear what.
Nothing is out of bounds. You could ask me, and you don't have to censor anybody, my friend.
Tyler's chat obviously was a little unhappy with the misinformation, and instead of shutting it down or saying, can we stick to the facts? Do you have verification to back up what you are saying? He didn't vet him, nothing. His chat's trying to even correct him and say, this is bullshit. Like, why are you letting this be done? And he doesn't have the backbone to shut it down, because he's all about lining his own pocket. He has a self-serving mission. That's it. That's all.
Thick-skinned. I've been doing this for 5 days now, and I'll give you my best option as to what everything it was I saw. Now, I haven't worked on this case, worked on it probably in about 4 days, but I'll tell you everything I found out leading up to it. The most telltale sign when you listen to me talk here, and then I'll tone it down a little bit, is the family has absolutely nothing. Nothing. 3 weeks, they have zero.
Yeah.
So sooner or later, they're going to have to come back around to it. See, this is a pass-fail business. Yeah. Sooner or later, it'll come out in the wash. The only problem is if they find this kid dead or it has something to do with what I gave them, I got to say, I told you so.
You want to know what came out in the wash? That Jim Terry is a fraud. You can read it for yourself in the Rolling Stone. Jim Terry also doesn't have a YouTube channel anymore because his misinformation spreading is dangerous and harms victims and re-victimizes their families. Those are what came out in the wash. Jim Terry got shown for what he is. Unfortunately, Dylan's still missing, but charges have been brought against somebody. Hopefully there will be closure sooner or later for his family.
So time is of the essence too. And it's like the police procedures are so slow. I mean, when you talk about the boot being processed, it's like 3 weeks or whatever before they would even send it off. Was it his blood? Was it not his blood? Is that significant to you? The blood on the boots?
You want to know why? Oh, I'm so pissed off. Let me tell you why. First of all, there's videos. What's those little skateboard things called where these kids get on it and it moves by itself? And what are those?
Whoa.
The hoverboard things?
Yeah.
Dark Horse, I am so sorry. Have you talked about that previously? Is there somewhere where you've talked about what he did to you so I could go search it out and like look at it? I'm not asking you to tell it again, but I'd be interested in seeing what.
Okay,
this guy has done a lot to a lot of people.
Video of this kid in the hoverboard. You can see the dot on his boot. Come on.
Somebody mentioned that today, actually.
Come on. You know what? That's sexy. That sounds great.
Yeah.
There's boots in the desert. Let me tell you something. They were found a football field away from his house. I got boots in my backyard right now. That doesn't mean I'm missing or somebody abducted me. There's probably blood on them. There might be, that could have been hot wing sauce for all they know.
Yeah.
And so these boots were found in the desert. The boots, so listen to me. The boots were found in the desert and they're his only pair and there's a red dot on it. Okay. Yeah. Let me tell you it a different way. The boots were found in the desert because if you go 300 miles in every direction, you're in the desert. Any pair of shoes you're going to find out there's about a 98% chance.
I'm so sorry, Dark Horse.
It's going to be in the desert. Number two, look at the videos beforehand. There was a dot on it. Now, the family did tell me right before this thing was over that it was blood, but they don't even know if it's human blood. And the family was under the impression that they could give that to a private investigator, and I got a lab in my backyard, like I'm Bruce Wayne. It takes days, if not weeks, to get that
Elon
stuff.
Musk.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder
it's not very significant unless he was in the boots.
I wonder too if the family had made a step away from you because there was a reality of Dylan's end state that you were shining a light on. In other words, it's highly likely that he's no longer living. Unfortunately, as sad as that is, we don't want that to be the case.
That's about a 97% chance.
And you were having to shine the light on that, and that could be troublesome. So
Tyler's making excuses for the bullshit that Jim's spewing. Now tell me again how Tyler stands for the victims and their families. When he is offering his platform, he is going along with the misinformation. He is making excuses for this BS. Now tell me how he's not problematic also. I mean, there's plenty of streams with him talking by himself, but when he entertains people like this, it's even worse.
I thought about that too. Like, is the family upset about you pointing that reality out?
You want to know what the family's upset about? The family and I had about 8 days worth of conversations about this kid. Okay, 8 days. And the one thing they said is, well, prove that he's gay. Prove that he's gay. I want you to prove to me that he's gay. And I says, okay, right after you prove to me that he's straight, show me one girlfriend, one Tinder account, one Plenty of Fish account, one prom picture, one date night. I talked to 2 hookers.
That means absolutely fucking nothing. But again, he is trying to slander the victim because they want nothing to do. The family wants nothing to do with him. Do you see how sick and easy that twist was for him? And Tyler Feller is willing and letting him run this narrative.
That tried to get on him at a truck stop, and they told me he was gay. So, I mean, you know, and not that it has anything to do with it, but the family really didn't have an issue talking with me about this, even though they said, hey, we're Mormons here, take it easy. They didn't have a problem talking about this stuff with me and other things. The militia thing, the group going out there and hunting people down, we'll talk about that. It was just as big of a thing as the gay thing, but the gay thing's a little bit more of a lightning rod because it looks so bizarre. You got this innocent 13-year-old looking little farm kid and this gruff
but the point of it, the point of like why it's important is because the persons of interest that are attached to the case. That's the reason why it's important.
Well, no, let me tell you what's important.
No, the people that the internet named persons of interest.
If Gabby Petito, the first person you looked at when she disappeared, was who?
It's who's closest. It's the last person that was with
their
her.
Boyfriend or their girlfriend,
it's their spouse, it's their partner. Yeah,
right, their partner. Well, this was his partner. Deal with it.
Yeah,
but see,
that is not true.
They didn't have a problem the first 6 to 8 days. We all talked about this behind closed doors. They were accepting it. Even the father. Where it got crazy is when they wouldn't do what I needed them to do to work this together to cross it off. I even said, if I'm wrong, I'll refund your money and I'll leave. It wasn't until I went public with it, they got rid of me. Paid in full. Unbelievable. Never had that happen.
I found it interesting that whenever I'm looking at the timeline that the family had made available, it basically said that Kurt was the one who called the family to have a conversation. Family received a phone call from a citizen of Montello, Kurt, who used to work for Dylan, that Dylan was being held in a specific location by Chase and another gentleman in Montello. Yeah. They sent out 6 deputies, but he was not there, and they searched the entire property, according to a Nancy Grace interview on June 13th.
Oh, Nancy Grace has covered this?
Yes.
Interesting. I spoke with Chase. I spoke with Chase's son. I spoke with Chase's parents, and I spoke with...
Again, spewing more BS. Please listen with your ears wide open. 99% of this has been confirmed to be non-factual.
His brother and his sister-in-law. Chase Venstra is extremely interesting. The picture that they've got of Chase Venstra is this 250-pound ogre.
Yeah, beat him. James Brenner, he's the one who is charged in this crime.
Looking beast with a beard. He looks nothing like that now. Nothing like that. Picture is so scary, it's unbelievable. And when I talked to him, he didn't look like that. The family put out a $5,000 reward for him based on Kurt Wadsworth's assumption or story. Okay. So when I chased down Chase Venstra, I got him on the phone through his brother. I called his brother and his sister, his sister-in-law. And I says, get me your parents. Now, Chase Venstra's mom is a retired school teacher and substitute school teacher. His dad owns a business. His brother's got a great job. His sister's-in-law's got a great job. They are a phenomenal family. He's the black sheep. He's the garbage. He even admitted to me he was. So when I got him on the phone and I tracked down that he was at a Little Caesars Pizza right around the time they're saying this kid went missing, I thought he was innocent. And I knew he had warrants out for his arrest. I knew his history of torturing animals and doing stuff like that. I knew he wasn't a good guy, but I don't deal with any good guys in this business except now you.
Whoa, except now you. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
But bottom line is that I got him on the phone. And this is where it starts.
He's a good guy because he'll sit there and let you spew your bullshit lies to an entire audience and go along with it. That's why he's a good guy in your eyes, right?
And I says, Chase, do this, talk to me. He called me, says, listen, I said, Chase, I want to get you out of this. Yeah. Let me get you out of this. Then we go to the next person. They think a private investigator just jumps on this. This is like calling a plumber to your house. Yeah. When the plumber comes to the house, he starts working on all the pipes at one time. You work at one pipe at a time until it's fixed. So then what I did was I went to Chase and I says, let me get you out of this. I says, Chase, what's going on here? And he said, well, this all started when I caught Kurt and Chase being gay.
Okay. Again, he is just throwing anything out here. No fact basis to any of this, just making up complete bullshit lies and seeing what'll stick. That is what he is doing. Are you guys buffering?
And I said, wait, what? And he says, yeah, they're a couple. I go, how old is that guy? I wasn't shocked he was gay. I was shocked as to the guy that he picked to be gay with because of the age. I was more of an age discrimination than anything else. I was shocked. And I says, well, he goes, and I hate Kurt Wadsworth. We hate each other. I stole it from him. He's put guns in my face. I want to kick his ass. He wants to kick mine.
So they're basically enemies.
No, not enemies. Mortal enemies. Hated each other. And I says, well, we'll go back to this gay thing. You're telling me that's his boyfriend because now I'm looking into a man that might have a motive. And a man that was his significant other. Like if I was doing a case of a missing woman and she had some thug boyfriend, I'd look into that guy. It's not as, it's not as, it's more coy to do that. But so anyways, he goes, well, here, let me put my son on the phone. I said, so what's your son got to do with this? His son was 17 years old, worked on the farm with Dylan Rounds. And he basically told me, yeah, he's gay. He's a weird kid. He's a nice kid. He's a hard worker. But yeah, he was with that dude. He was spending the night at his trailer continuously. Then he started telling me
even if he was, so be it. Nobody's business.
About a militia. I'm using the word militia, vigilante group.
He is literally sensationalizing everything in this to make it sound like it's this incredibly complex everything.
In which Kurt Wadsworth, Troy Wadsworth, Scott Wadsworth, a guy named Sean, and some other people were policing the area. And the reason I know that all this was okay. So now I got to go back to the family and say, hey, good news. I got Chase. I found him. I've spoken to him. He's got opened up a dialogue. They arrested him on unrelated charges days later. This might come as a shock to you guys, but your son had a boyfriend. Crickets.
Yeah.
Well, let's prove that. Well, then I started going around. I said, okay, let's say that Dylan is gay. Let me prove that Kurt isn't. And that was even harder.
Yeah.
Until the owner of the saddle sore is a woman named Ellen Berg. Her son, and he lives on the property, is the one that caught Kurt wearing drag. The one that had him showing the lipstick and the makeup. I had his girlfriend, his former girlfriend, on another show tonight, and she is Kurt's niece, and she said the same story.
Listen to this BS. Again, even if he was, what does it have to do with the fact that Dylan was missing? Dylan is missing. Like, if you don't understand how harmful misinformation like this is to the families and the victims, and again, in my opinion, he did this out of revenge because the family wants nothing to do with him because he was being seen for what he is, nothing but a straight up fraud, in my opinion.
Everybody in that town started calling me. They said, well, we don't know if Dylan is, but we know he is. We don't know if he is, but we know Dylan is. And that's why he was staying over his house. And the parents couldn't understand why his house was so disheveled. He never spent any time at home. He went to the bar, Kurt's house, and spent time with those guys.
Is Kurt the one that had like locked up girls in the past?
There's three brothers to remember. There's Kurt. He's the lowest on the totem pole and the most mild, but he's the boyfriend. The next guy up would be Troy. Troy has kidnapped people. He's got a nasty criminal background. He's the guy who looks real scary with the wild hair. He almost looks like the comedian Gallagher if Gallagher did steroids. The third guy is by far one of the worst people I've ever seen or dealt with. And his name is Scott Wadsworth. Now, the kidnapped women, how did you hear about that?
I heard about it from the phone conversation that someone had released that was between you and Candace.
Okay.
And I listened to that.
That's a true story. And here's how that came to me. A social worker and a nurse who was investigating.
Listen to all of this. So private investigators have ethical standpoints. They have things that they have to follow. They have rules that they have to follow. One of them, professionalism, is lacking, of course. I mean, there's nothing professional about Jim Terry whatsoever. And again, we know he's basically a fake PI. He doesn't have any education, really. He's got a certificate. He probably printed it off Google, just like Molly Golightly's life certificate. I mean, life coaching certificate. You don't have to have any skills or anything like that, is basically what we've definitely learned by this point in time. But he has no confidentiality whatsoever. He literally will cut, chop, do anything if he is angry with the family. He put out anything and everything he could to twist a narrative against this family while their son is missing. Think about that. And creeps like Tyler Feller, who are doing the Lord's work, allowed this on their channels time and time again. This isn't the only time he was on that channel. This isn't even close to it. And continued to allow, because Tyler Feller, in my opinion, has a self-serving nature in himself, which we'll touch a little bit more in a minute. But I wanted to lay the foundation of who Tyler associates with, what he thinks is okay, because this is so much deeper than just his faith manipulation. He actively helps spread misinformation on active cases, victims, their families. Harmful as fuck.
Investigating an elderly abuse case in that area. When she went to the elderly abuse case to that area, which, by the way, the guy and his name's been released, is a convicted pedophile. all he was talking about when they went there to check on his well-being was Jim Terry, the private investigators, onto something, because those Wadsworth boys kidnapped 3 girls, and Scott Wadsworth had them in a storage shed, and he was poking holes in their water. So the girl who knew nothing about Chase Venstra, the nurse, social worker who knew nothing about me or this case at all, who didn't even want to be around this guy but had to because it's her job through the state, said, wait a second, this guy's not BSing. And the reason I know he's telling the truth is because I was the one that helped these 3 girls. This is related. She called me. She could lose her license and what she went to college for if I put her name out there in a heartbeat. One of the girls escaped, got to a not a post office box. Got to a, what is that called? Not a post office. Got to a post office. Mm-hmm. And the cops were called. They would not testify against him. So what he did was he captured his girlfriend. He had her in the storage shed, then used her to get a mother and a daughter to come, and then kept all 3 of them for 4 months.
Oh my
so that
goodness.
Story is unequivocally true. And it was right around that time the family said, that's it.
And by the way, all the names that he listed off, yes, some of them were involved because they live out there. Some of them have criminal past, all of that stuff. But none of them have been charged, in my understanding, with Dylan's disappearance or potentially murder. James Brennan is on trial currently. I don't think any of the rest, nothing that I could find that they were charged in Dylan's disappearance. Now, if there's something else in there that I didn't find, let me know. But so far, I'm not seeing them charged with anything to do with Dylan.
Is the Wadsworth family like a powerful, influential family out of these 200 people?
What do you mean by powerful?
Like, do they have the ability to sway either courts or law enforcement?
No. I've dealt with those types of families. You know what I mean? People that own like major car dealerships in Dallas or
You
know, what they are.
Hope, thank you so much. Welcome to the island, you guys. Let's play a song because we need a break from the rambling. This is so much BS. It's unbelievable.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We got
Bad behavior. Thank you. That's the only thing I could find too, and I looked through the court records just to verify, but that's all I could find so far in connection with Dylan's.
Is they are in a town of, partners, how many people are in your chat room? Or how many people are listening to you right now?
Thanks, Hope.
718.
Okay, that's almost 3 times as many that's in that town.
Yeah.
Now, if you had 6 or 7 or 10 people that are like them, and the rest are elderly people, children, and the rest are, it's not going to be hard to control that town. Most people just want to stay in their area and not be bothered. We're talking about the desert.
Yeah.
You don't go outside and hang out. So they're not a financially influential group. They're in an area and they're there on purpose where no police go. It's in the middle of nowhere where most people are poor and they're scary and nuts. So yeah, that's their influence.
That's what I was wondering about. So like, did
Dark Horse, my email is nonsense on the web, DA, not the DA @gmail.com. It's in my about section too.
Kurt have money or didn't have money?
Kurt's mother is technically the one the saddle sore's in. Half his brothers are registered felons, so they can't own a liquor license. So now these are hardworking people. I mean, just because it's going to sound terrible, but you can be a pedophile and be a really hard worker. You know what I mean? You can be a great employee and be a sex offender. It happens, right? I mean, I'm not condoning it. You know, you can't work at a park or a Chuck E. Cheese, but you could work in a ditch somewhere in the middle of the desert. And that's what these people did. Kurt Wadsworth was described to me as a guy that sits around that bar, which, by the way, is only open 1 day a week. And it's called the Saddle Sore.
Yeah.
Tyler doesn't even care. He's just pulling up the super stickers. He's just waiting for the super sticker train to choo choo.
You know what Saddle Sore is, don't you?
I assume
it's a
from
sore
riding
on
a
a
horse.
cowboy's ass. I mean,
I'll
let you draw the conclusions. If it was in San Francisco, we wouldn't have this conversation. So
I doubt either one of these two have ever been on a fucking horse. Let's be honest.
basically what it is he runs this bar 1 day a week and he sits in there and waits for new money to come into town to figure out a way how to get it from him. Maybe that's how he got what he got. But then again, he's living with no water and no electricity and trailers spread out around the desert.
I just thought like it was weird that Kurt was working for Dylan, because one of the early assumptions that came out in some of the interviews from the family was saying, we think that these past workers are the persons of interest in this case. And here's the reason why. They were disgruntled because they were having to work for a 19-year-old or a 16-year-old or whatever, and things didn't go over well between them. There was some work disagreement, and that was some of
Tyler doesn't even know the case. He just said a 16 or a 19-year-old. He was 16 when he first started going out there and working with his grandfather, from my understanding. He was 19 at the time that he went missing. Is that correct?
the motive.
There's a hell of a lot of motives. I mean, you know, if that's what you want, but they were able to cross that off pretty quick. They never wanted to cross off the motive of the boyfriend. See, you're forgetting, I talked to Kurt Wadsworth. Kurt Wadsworth's family called me.
So tell me what that conversation was like.
Oh, it was bizarre. You want to know the truth? It was like talking to a jealous bitch. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is I pressed his buttons. I was told that he's a crescendo guy. He's like this. Listen, I didn't want anything bad to happen to that kid. I want to make sure that that kid is found. Well, tell me about the 2 girls that were hitting on him. Did he go home with them? Boom! He would never go home with those 2 girls. Women don't do anything but cost you money. That's the problem here. It's the women, and they cost them money. And I'm like, whoa. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, this is a jealous man.
So that,
yeah.
Listen to the BS that he is trying to paint about Dylan and this gentleman.
And then the whole conversation was like that.
You hit some triggers on him. It definitely sounds like, yeah.
Definitely.
21.
And so then what's Kurt's motive? Like, break that down for me. So
I don't know that Kurt's the killer. I'm just telling you that I can't cross him off the list.
Okay.
They would not let me cross him off the list. So I had Kurt and Troy. The bigger thing here is Troy Wadsworth, the other brother, the second one in the pyramid, had nail marks all up and down his arms. Now, the big question is, why isn't the private investigator in that town? The grandparents hired me. There's 500 people. You've got Jake Paul's private helicopter pilot doing tours over there. You've got people scattered throughout the desert. You got 3 different states of law enforcement.
Why is Jake Paul's private helicopter doing tours there?
You tell me. Well, because Jake Paul has a buddy he's like a big guy. He's got a beard. He looks like a pro wrestler. He does stuff for Jake Paul, the boxer. I knew Jake Paul's a boxer. I didn't know he was a YouTube guy.
No, yeah, I know who Jake Paul is.
Yeah, well, this guy that showed up over there and was doing the helicopter, he's the guy that found the body in the desert, the 41-year-old man with no shoes on. Did you know that? There was they found another dead guy out there?
It's not surprising.
Those people volunteered their time. Yes, they're big YouTubers. They have a TV show, everything like that. But they volunteered their time to go look for Dylan. This is so crazy to me. And I don't know about all the names that he's thrown out here and putting in here, but we had local guys who have a TV show. I'm not going to get into it, but
that they would be finding dead bodies in this type of a situation.
Well, they found this guy and everybody thought it was him at first. So I thought my job was over right away. That was Jake Paul's buddy, who's a YouTuber who has a helicopter who went out there for free. So they had all these people out there and I'm like, what am I going to do? And I says, but when it gets to the point where all these people are going to go away, they're going to go away if you don't find them, that's when I'll come out there and I'll start kicking in doors. And the family didn't necessarily want me out there right away. The cops were a little...
You ain't kicking in shit, by the way. You ain't kicking in shit. Maybe the paneling behind you.
Intimidated. I've gotten detectives fired before when I found people from couches like Gloria Alvarado. But I'll wrap it up with this as far as this.
When I found people from couches, he's not boots on the ground, Tyler, like you introduced him.
Aspect goes, I asked the family to do 2 things. Ask Kurt Wadsworth for his cell phone. I don't care about your son's cell phone. Ask Kurt for it. These are people that were hanging around with Kurt on a daily basis when Dylan was missing. And the father said, no, I don't want to do that. I want him to think I'm his friend. I says, ask to see his cell phone and the text messages between him and his brothers and all that. Put the body here. Hey, did you hear what? Because if nothing else, you'll see if he has it. If he does not give you his phone, he has something to hide. If you get his phone and a boatload of stuff is deleted, he has something to hide. It would be interesting to see him refuse to give you his phone, like somebody would do with a girlfriend you think is cheating. The family wouldn't do that because they didn't want to ruffle his feathers. The other thing was the brother, Troy Wadsworth, had scratches. No, not scratches. Nail marks up and down one arm.
They're painting a whole narrative about people who ended up not even being involved. This is why this behavior is so dangerous, because then the internet runs amok with speculation and wild theories. They start digging on people, which you will see him even offer to run anybody for Tyler in the end of this.
It took almost 2 weeks for the cops to listen to me and for the parents to take a picture of that arm. They wouldn't do it. And they were next to him. So it wasn't like I was asking them to do, and then the family would say, well, we'll worry about the scratches on the arm later. Will you run this license plate? Will you look for these other 2 missing kids in the area? And now it's the mother and the father giving me directions, which you don't give a private investigator directions. You can give me possibilities. You can give me information. I run the investigation, not the mother who works at Costco and the dad.
You ain't running shit but your goddamn big old mouth.
That's a truck driver.
He looks like the bug off of Bug's Life.
Like I'm 100% in charge. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait, I'm the one with the
You ain't in charge either. Sit the fuck down, your little baby hands.
College background in it. They don't go to your dentist and tell him how to do a cap on it too.
Right.
So now they're giving me stuff, and I'm going back to the grandparents, and the grandparents are like, no, Terry, we paid you. You're our guy. Keep on this. Well, then when I went public, all hell broke loose, and the mother could not wait to get rid of me because I wasn't letting her be in charge. That's what happened behind closed doors, and it all calmed.
No, because you're a liability, because your mouth and your speculation and your wild ass theories and
culminated with a voicemail that they released to a woman. And I don't care. There's no phone calls I've ever been on. I would care if anybody listened to. You can hear the way I talk, and I am really PG on your show. There's nothing I wouldn't say to somebody's face on a show or in the public that I wouldn't say behind closed doors. The only thing that irritated me a little bit is that woman didn't give me a chance to come on and talk about it, and that how the family did it. Like I said, the first 80 conversations we had about her son's lifestyle and how he was missing, there was never an issue. As soon as it went public, there was an issue and a press release. And then I says, well, I got to defend my business and my integrity. Like you said, when we opened the show,
you don't have any integrity to defend. You and the word integrity will never be in the same sentence. Or the only sentence you would be in is Jim has lack of integrity. That's it. I don't even know if you know what the fucking word means. Do you need dictionary lessons like BHB?
looks like I know what I'm doing.
Is this hooves on the ground, PI? This kind of sounds, he would be fitting for that group.
Yeah. I don't know what her username is, but somebody said that she's in the chat and is watching this interview. Hotspot, somebody said Candace is here watching this interview right now.
I think that's great. And I will make the same thing here that I had in a couple of others. There was a show that we were I was told we were both going to go on together. I can be respectful. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what I'm telling you on
and he was very wrong.
This thing is I asked and begged for that mother to go on. I'll let her have her show and then have me come on and we'll talk about this publicly. We'll go over this. And if she could prove me wrong, if I could prove her wrong, I don't want a smear campaign. But if you get in the ring with the bull, you're going to get the horns. I don't care if it's a mother or not. The bottom line here is I offer that.
You're like a mini bull with the hump. That's it. Sorry. You probably don't even have horns. You're a low cow, but you're definitely not a bull.
She threatened to not go on the show if I was on it with her, and even took it one step further and said I couldn't even be on the same show. She comes off the show, I come on the show, she would not have done it. They did not ask her any tough questions. For example, her abandonment of her son and her two other.
Sketchy. Thankfully, that's been happening. So buckle up. One of them will get prayed for. The other one, I'm prepared. But if he can't take a little criticism about his public behavior, either one of them, I mean, to each their own. If he's a private eye, he can do whatever he chooses to do, but I'll just continue to expose him for the worthless piece of shit he is.
Other children for 3 years. They did not ask her about the $2.6 million with the lawsuits and liens. She has never come out and said that her son is not gay. They've never denounced anything I've said.
She said that today in an interview. And
I'm sorry?
She said that today that he's not gay, by the way, in an interview.
Really? And how does she know that?
And how would you know? How would you know? She knows her son way better than you do.
She didn't say how she knew that, but she did say that.
If you asked me how I know it, I would ask her the same question. If she's in the chat or her family's in the chat, bring her in. I'd love to talk to her, and I'll shut my mouth and listen. I'd love to hear her go one-on-one with me because I told her to drop this, and she didn't. The family should have called me and said, listen, Terry.
I told her to drop this, and she wouldn't. The mother of a missing child. He told her to drop this, and she wouldn't. I wonder fucking why, Jim. I wonder.
We don't like what you're saying. We think you're a crackpot. You're not for us. I've always been like this. You look at any of my videos, I've never changed. They knew what they were getting. We don't like what you're doing. Just go ahead and go. I gave them the out. What they do, they go to a bunch of Facebook people, a bunch of web sleuths, and try to blast me online. Call Gloria Alvarado, Jed Hall, Lori Cockrell, Anthony Smith. Call any of the families I've worked for, Jake the Snake Roberts. Ask them what they think of Jim Terry's work ethic and how he did. The bottom line is here, what I told him offended it. There is no way in the world. Well, I'll tell you what. She said he's not gay. Kurt Wadsworth's niece just said that they were. You know, this is a mother who didn't know this kid very well. So I'm going to believe the people that were there in that town most recently, not a mom who's quarterbacking from 20 miles away.
Or a man that's quarterbacking from states away, has never stepped foot into the area, doesn't know anything about these people, just got his fifis hurt and decided to cause an absolute chaotic mess around a missing child. He's not a child, a young adult. Think about that for a moment. A PI, this man branded himself as a private investigator, was paid and has done nothing but harass and re-victimize this family over and over and over again, amongst many others. And here's the little slime bag feller letting him do it.
Well, Candace, if you're on the stream, you can email press@tylerfeller.com. I'll send you the link. We'd love to have you on. Is Kurt married? Because Hotspot sends a super chat that says maybe Kurt's wife and daughter had Troy take care of Dylan.
Say that again.
She said maybe Kurt's wife and daughter had Troy take care of Dylan.
Kurt's divorced. And here's another weird thing about Kurt. He's divorced. He has 8 children. One of his children called me and defended the fact that the pedophiles in their family were not the really bad ones. That they're good pedophiles, not bad ones. And so she had called me, and it was a bizarre conversation. Then her husband went online and started bad-mouthing me. One of the things, and I've never released this.
Can you imagine walking into church on a Sunday morning and seeing this guy at the pulpit telling this story? I mean, because that's what we're watching right now. This is the Church of Tyler Feller. This is his ministry, Tyler Feller Ministries. And he's allowing this slime bag to stand at the pulpit and spread all this information about a victim and his family. Think about that, because that's how Tyler wants us to view him, right? You're supposed to tithe 10% of your monthly income to him. Can you imagine that? Thank you guys for joining the membership. Welcome to the Cabana. It's a little bit of a shit show over here. We're kind of all over the place. I can't. Like, this is so dangerous, in my opinion, and so damn disgusting.
I'll release this on your show. Why not? Is I've had a lot of people, including the woman that owns the saddle store. The real owner of that property is a woman named Ellen Berg. She's like 70. Her son is the one that caught Kurt and drag. And she told me that he had bragged to her on quite a number of occasions that he had online Asian wives and husbands, like mail order bride type stuff. And I always wanted to dig into that. And
look at the pinned comment. Exclusive content. Look at this little slimeball prick. He made a comment that said exclusive content, like it's some breaking fucking news. And you want to tell me that this is a pastor? This little slimeball is a pastor. Unfortunately, he is. A pastor that's full of shit, in my opinion. A pastor that has a self-righteous, self-serving mission, in my opinion. According to his public documents on ProPublica, I got a lot of questions, Mr. Feller.
What that is, I never got a chance to ask him that on the phone, but he had a collection of these people that he was meeting and acting like he was married to, and more than enough, but they never came into town. But more, so I asked a couple of people, why do you think he's doing that? If he's gay, like I keep trying to get away from this, right? Like prove it wrong. And they said, oh, and the word that they used, and this has been on other shows, not my word they used, and it's a word that he used with people behind closed doors, is he called it fagolage, like camouflage. And that's what he uses to make it look like he's got an Asian wife overseas so they don't think he's a... Listen, his niece went on a national radio show tonight with me and said that her brother committed suicide in prison 2 years ago. This is true, because he was molested from the time he was a little kid by his uncle Kurt. And he's a boy. He's dead now. And Kurt also had another guy that committed suicide that was in his life as well. We can't make this stuff up. You just got to follow it. What does it have to do with Dylan's disappearance? I don't know, but I can't get out of it.
Yeah, it just sounds so terrible. The whole
I'm literally speechless just listening to him ramble over and over again, and the things that he is saying about this is shocking.
whole situation sounds terrible, but it sounds like this Wadsworth family is evil. I mean, I don't know any other way to describe it. They just sound evil.
Up?
What?
Have you ever put their pictures up on your show?
I have not.
They are terrifying. Show your listeners what we're talking about. These aren't guys that look like the guy from Subway that got in trouble. These people.
I thought you ran your show, Tyler. He just told you what to do, and you're doing it. Guess you don't. He runs you too.
People look like animals.
I don't even know where. I've never even seen a picture of them. I don't know.
Just Google it. It's all out there now. Ever since I've started opening my fat mouth, they're everywhere. If you look up Scott Wadsworth, Troy Wadsworth, you'll see these two guys, and you'll see the rap sheets. It's all out there. I mean, this kid, I can't believe he made it as long as he did.
Listen to this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, you are right there with him. An incredible little prick who does nothing but harm victims and their families. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it like it is. These two are exactly the same personalities. Tyler's not talking this time because he can't get a word in edgewise with Jim. But what he does have to say, he's going along with it. He's saying, yeah, continue to go. This is exclusive content, y'all. He's more concerned about the super chats coming in. That's all he cares about. But he's going along with and platforming this fool to spread misinformation. Now tell me again how this helps victims and their families. I'll wait. Laura, this is your little buddies. How is this helping victims and their families?
What do you think happened? You're a smart guy. You do this for a living.
Well, whenever I think about this case, I think that Chase has a level of involvement in it. I don't know what it is. It doesn't make sense.
I'm with you.
He showed up out there. His mom's like, no way. He would never hang out with Chase. He would never go on a car ride with Chase. He would never give Chase a car ride without telling me. 4 days later, she's like, yeah, he really did give Chase a car ride. I don't know. He didn't tell me because I would be.
I've been through it all. You're right. I'm kind of unfazed, and so is Kyle. Kyle said, buckle the fuck up because. Oh, and by the way, unlike these little pricks, Kyle's actually at work today. That's why he's not here right now. But you know, he actually goes to work and actually works. He doesn't sit on the couch and makes phone calls and then speculates over people's tragedies. And open up your wallet. You need to tithe to us. That's not how we run things. So he's actually at work, but he'll be joining us on the next ones.
You worried to death about it or whatever. I'm like, well, no, there's something shady going on. Why is he having to keep that part a secret? So what's Chase's involvement in all of this? What's the connection? And then I find it very strange that on that timeline, the family received a call from Kurt, who said that Dylan was being held in a specific location by Chase. And it made me think instantly that Kurt had something to do with it.
Lisa, I got him. Yeah. There's a lot of victims of theirs. You guys, this is barely touching the surface. Like, this is just a tiny little scratch. There's been channels covering, especially Jim Terry, for quite some time. He's newer to me, so I am not as well in the know, but I wanted to show these guys of who they are, because Tyler Feller bothers the fuck out of me. He still has a platform. Jim Terry, thankfully, is off YouTube, like I said before, but he still has involvement and he's still fucking with people at this point in time. It is horrific. And you can see the amount of BS that they have no problem spewing on an active case. This was an active case. This was about a year ago. And they don't have any concern for these families whatsoever. This man should never have a platform, in my opinion, whatsoever, to spread these and harm families like he has. And I'm specifically talking about Jim Terry. Tyler Feller, we're going to have a come into Jesus.
Because that's a lot of times what people do whenever they're guilty, is they call and try to push off the blame onto other people immediately. And that's exactly what happened in this case. As soon as it's reported missing, first person they hear from is Kurt. Kurt says that Chase has him and he's held him.
Sticky, if he does do anything, we'll just play it all out front. We'll just show it for all it is. I mean, that's all we can do, right? That's the antics that they use to try and silence people for speaking out against their poor behaviors. I'm more concerned about the victims and their families. My family is okay. We will always be okay, because people like this, sooner or later, people start seeing them for what they are. And that's when they get desperate and start reacting, because they don't want people to call them out. So I will continue to take the hits if that's what the games he wants to play, because the victims and their families mean more to me, and getting the truth out there, than letting some little weasel like that try to intimidate me into silence. I appreciate all the warnings, though. I got them this morning, a lot of them.
In some weird location, and it was all like a red herring.
That is going to be the only way. I got a call tonight, and I don't know why I'm still getting calls. I don't know if it's, because I tell people adamantly, I'm not working on this.
Because everybody is invested in this, and you're going on YouTube channels and people are like, yes, information we don't have, and we want more information. And so
no, they're still calling me, giving me tips to look into stuff. I had 2 calls, and let me say this the right way, because there's other YouTubers out there that'll dice this up. After the woman called from Justin's trucking company and threw the entire family under the bus, and that call is out there. I released that call out there, and a woman that told us and released all that stuff. I don't even know if she still works there, but people were saying I was lying and making this up, so I just started releasing calls. How can I say this the right way? Because it seems like no matter what I say in this, if it's not the right thing, it'll offend you. But I think if you take the people that you're looking at, and I think if you put them all in a blender, sooner or later, one of those people are gonna be your guy. I don't think there's anybody else out there.
Exactly.
Are you fucking joking right now? You just throw a bunch of people into a blender. Sooner or later, one of them will be your guy. Well, no shit, Sherlock. This guy has to be. There ain't a smart sentence he said yet.
I think the only other 2 possibilities, and I said 97%, another 2% that this kid's alive, is that he has made it in some sort of a storage shed, that he is being held captive out there. Now, to hold somebody captive, just try to keep a dog in a storage shed for 3 weeks. See how tough that is. And then now the whole town is looking at you. How would you have been out there? The other 1%, so there you go. There's my guy. That is Scott Wadsworth, the guy, because I call
people who were not charged in any of this.
No ears. Like, I feel he can't hear anything people are saying. He's got another picture out there. That is the guy that had the 3 women held captive in a storage shed for 4 months and was poking holes in water for sexual favors. And if
it has nothing to do with the actual case that they're supposed to be discussing.
The mother tells you that's not true, it's because her husband in law enforcement is keeping a lot of stuff from her, because they basically have said, let her go do her thing so we can do our thing. The bottom line is that's a true story. Go ahead and read his criminal record and tell me I'm not. And the one that told me this is the woman that took care of the 3 women that this guy had captive.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and that story is saying that he owes $13,000 in restitution to a teenage victim. So
wow, it's almost like I know what I'm talking. A teenage victim. I wonder who that is. Yeah. And I bet you there's some computer stuff in there too. See, the problem here, my friend, is some people involved.
My friend, the problem here, my friend.
in this are so far behind in the race, they think they're winning. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm just saying they wouldn't let me cross these 3 people off the list.
And that's the thing too. Like, let's
Listen to how he has spun this shit.
say the population of Montello is 92. You add in Lucin, then you add the rural areas. You're saying it's 200 people who live there. Okay, well, it's not that hard to rule out 200 people. Is essentially what you're doing. And so you're pointing to Kurt. I heard you say that Chase was off the list, but is he back on the list?
Here's the thing with Chase. Based on what his family told me, I thought he was done.
Fuck.
I am starting to hear stuff now and more stuff that has been. Listen, the FBI is involved.
Mm-hmm.
Lori Cockrell, Jed Hall. If you look at any of the cases I've worked, Lori Alvarado, I've mentioned some of these before.
Judd Hall is the one that AWP was involved in too, right? If I'm correct. Yeah, Jared Lysick isn't much different than the rest of these guys either, unfortunately.
The FBI was never involved in him. That kid's dead. And the FBI knows more than they're telling us, of course. And
the FBI has to know, right?
Yeah. The FBI wouldn't be there if this kid was on a beach in San Diego. And I think this kid met with some foul play. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong, you know. But listen, at some point here, you got to face the facts and face reality. And even if I was that burr in the saddle, even if I was a conspiracy theorist and was terrible, let's say I didn't even have the record that I had. By the way, this mother also called Aiden Klum's mom and MF'd me to her, and she won't work with. She MF'd me so bad to that woman and said I was such a whack job. The woman didn't even get it. The woman won't even call me anymore. She paid.
Thank God. Mama's out there doing the Lord's work, warning other people, warning other potential victims of his. Mamas unite. Go mamas, because that's all I got to say. You have this man preying on mothers of missing children. Young adults. Think about that for a moment. This was a year ago, and this man is still harassing that family, in my opinion.
Me in full as well. It's incredible the amount of power
gross.
This woman has out there. And by the way, still nothing. They've got zero. Sooner or later, they'll have nothing, and they'll be sitting in a tent in the desert and wondering where they go next. The problem here with all of this is when you take that kid and you put him out there, and by the way, I got a call probably an hour ago that said that they thought they saw him in Washington State riding a bike through an RV park. I'm getting calls like that continuously. The only other possibility that he's alive.
He's probably calling himself or having his fucking brother with the goddamn nylons on his head call him. Like, he doesn't have source anywhere. Like, this is just insanity.
Or the possibility that
and Tyler's over there just looking for more super chats.
Could be out there other than a foul play or maybe something to do with an abduction and keeping him is a suicide. He walks into the desert and blows his head off. I think that is such a low percentage, but I found that to have happened before. This kid was excited about the seeds. He was excited about his desert garden or whatever the hell this is, his farm out there. I don't think this is a kid that had any suicidal bone in his body, but that would be a distant shot. I don't think
he was suicidal either. I said that the other night on my stream.
Yeah. So like I said, the family should have just let me go. They probably shouldn't even have told anybody I was working for them. Let me do my thing. Forget about my history of never having finished a case, never having a case not be solved, whether it was me that pulled him out of the river or not, me that pulled him out of the desert or not. The fact that I would never stop, I would push all these buttons, but it was as soon as the gay thing came out, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And she's saying he's not gay, where for 8 days when I talked to her, it was a real consideration until it went public. If she can prove me wrong, I'd still refund her money today. She can't do that.
Are you fucking joking? That's all he wanted to do was smear the entire family, smear the entire case. He causes chaos and confusion and then acts like he's doing something to help the families. Well, in the meantime, he is actively causing chaos and confusion and spreading this stuff publicly. So they have to come out and defend themselves, defend their son who is missing. This is,
I think too, a little bit like from Candace's perspective, if she had sort of dropped Dylan off and abandoned him,
Alex,
like there's a little bit of a guilt that's probably playing into her.
Not just him, all 3 children.
If she had dropped all 3 children off, there's probably a little bit of a guilt, leading up to this.
This is her big moment. I've had people close to her, people that were friends with her, and they say 3 things. And I don't want to get onto a bash and a grieving mom thing, but we'll do it, right? She did it to me.
I don't want to bash a grieving mom.
Well, here's what they said. She'll fight with everybody in town before this is over with, and everybody will turn against her.
He says, let's go ahead, bash a grieving mother. Tyler says, oh, I don't want to do that. He continues on.
She's fought with a private investigator. Her former in-laws hired. That's me. But hey, listen, I'm a jackass. What do I know? She's already fought with law enforcement. She's on every news station out there crapping all over them. The townspeople have been on the internet, and I talked to a towns lady that I got on a radio show.
Tyler, where's your fucking backbone? You need one off Wish too, like Spanky, Justin for all? You're about in the same category as him. You have no fucking backbone. You didn't want to bash a grieving mother, yet you're so concerned with finding your fucking super chats and looking for your choo-choo train that you're allowing him to bash a grieving mother. You spineless little prick. And Jim, there ain't enough words to describe what a piece of shit you are, in my opinion. By the way, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is called The Scum of YouTube.
The other day, her and her 2 family members took into a hotel for 2 weeks because the family search group went up to this 18-year-old autistic kid in the desert who lives on 300 acres and were brandishing firearms on 4-wheelers and said, "You don't live here. Everybody out here's a squatter. We want to search your property." His parents were gone. So she's already pissed off the entire city, the entire town, which I don't blame her for, but she's not doing it the right way. So now the people out there that have crops. I talked to a lady that has a bed and breakfast. She goes, "I can't get anybody out here to watch these." They call them sun tunnels.
Y'all chill out in the comments. We're all here because all these people are pieces of shit. All of us probably have supported somebody that's a piece of shit throughout our time. It is what it is. Thankfully, people are seeing for these people for what they are. Please keep it cute or keep it mute.
She goes, "I got a business out here. I just sunk $140,000 to, and this is now the next." What was the girl that went to Aruba and went missing? Natalie Holloway?
Yeah, Natalie Holloway.
Did anybody go to Aruba on senior break again after that for like a decade? No. So now we got people in businesses out there that are saying, "Oh my God, she's fought with the townspeople, she's fought with the police, she's fought with the FBI, she's fought with the private investigator, and she's fought with search and rescue people." You know, it's just a matter of time before everybody's like, so she better hope the FBI finds her. And from what I'm understanding, the FBI is informing her husband of stuff that she's not aware of, which is to why they're there. And it might have something to do with some of these people, but it's been brought out on other media outlets. I'm not telling you anything I uncovered.
Yeah. Well, JoJo sends this and says, "Just a thought, maybe there was a rumor that Dylan was gay and Kirk made advances and Dylan did not accept, and that ensued assault/murder."
Listen, oh my God.
But that's not the case because you're saying they were like basically living together.
He was spending nights at his trailer.
Yeah.
They don't have cable.
So it wasn't like a one-time thing. It was like, no, there was.
So Tyler's helping push off this lie further and further and further. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I'm about to the level of taking all I can with these people. This is absolutely vile. But if you can't see how harmful misinformation is, so take the faith out of it for a minute. We're not even talking about religion in this. Well, I've thrown a few things in there because he claims he's a ministry, right? How are you ministering to people God's word when you have that slime ball sitting next to you? Now tell me this is God's word. This is God speaking through Jim Terry. And you know what? He doesn't blink an eye at the fact that he had Jim Terry on his panel. He could care less because it's all about the clicks and the views and the self-promotion for him. He's found a way to use true crime cases to manipulate people into opening their wallets. It's really, really sad. We're going to go up here. He goes through Candace and Justin. They pick through everything that they say, which is even more vile and disgusting. But we're going to go right to the end, and then I'm going to pull another clip.
He took mine and threw it down that mine shaft, and I'm down 2,500 feet.
I hope
or however
too
far they
much
go.
of
What
that.
do I know? I've never been in a mine shaft. How do you find that person?
Right.
So I talked to a guy that does that, and he
Classic
says what
writer.
they're getting ready to do is, first of all, you got to find these mine shafts or these holes. Once you find them, do you find the body in there? There's 3 ways to do it. Number one, if there is animals and animal tracks around the hole, because rats,
We're fast forward.
right, but they're still part of that culture. And
Cult.
culture, no, culture.
Oh.
I didn't say cult. Culture.
I said cult.
The whole gay thing.
Hold on. Backing it up. This is what
Chemical
we want to go.
aroma of the dead body. So if they put this fishing pole down there,
Yeah.
and it goes down 500 feet and it rings,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be whatever that ammonia smell or whatever that body is. And that's probably how they're going to find the kid if he's in one of those.
In one of those. Christopher wants to know if you think the Mormons had anything to do with it. Like if he is gay, they got upset about it and tried to kill him all.
Listen to this. This is a pastor.
We had a lady, I don't know much about the Mormon religion. Like I said, I'm Catholic, so I've been learning. And depending on who you
You obviously neither one know much about the Mormon religion.
ask, there's the Mormon church has loosened up the whole gay thing a little bit, but you still can't get married in their church. Like 2 gay guys can't get married in a Mormon church. I was told. We had a lady come on tonight that had left the church. She was on another show, and I thought it was interesting. The ladies that were listening to it were cringing, and she said, "I left it," and this is really this to me just summed it all up. She's 70 years old. She's been in the Mormon church forever, and she's talking about well, the Mormon church will allow you to be gay, but we won't allow you to do this, 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 and this.
That's
We
true.
won't allow you to get married in the church. We won't allow you to do this. We won't allow you to do that. She goes, but they'll let the normal people do that.
You can be gay, you just can't act on it.
And I just looked at the chat. Boom, 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 boom. So even though she's for gay people, she doesn't think they're normal. She slipped up. And that was just what was on her mind. She goes, well, the normal people are allowed to get married in our church.
The normal people.
And I was going to be like, the normal people, and then I just kind of let it go. So what she said is, if you have a child that is gay and you're a Mormon and you're practicing Mormon, there's also something called a Jack Mormon, which I guess is kind of like a Mormon that's a non-practicing Catholic. Like, we're Mormon, but we don't do all the bullshit.
I got the vibe from them that they're not like devout Mormons.
Right. But they're still part of that culture. And
Utah Mormonism is totally different than any other state I've ever lived in. Jack Mormons are pretty typical in other states. Mormon is a whole different meaning in the state of Utah. It's because it's the foundational area of Mormonism. It's where they settled. There's a whole different level of Mormonism basically in Utah than you will see in other states. Jack Mormon is basically somebody that believes in the Mormon church, believes in the Book of Mormon, but they don't follow everything to a T. They're probably not temple recommended. They don't follow all the covenants, things of that nature.
And
Culture.
No, culture. I didn't say cult. Culture.
I said cult.
Tyler, being the wonderful pastor over here, though, refers to the Mormon church as a cult. Kind of interesting, huh? We're not supposed to talk about his religious beliefs, but he's calling another religion a cult. I mean, pretty typical, but I thought we don't judge.
Oh, you said cult. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm from Clearwater Beach, Florida. We have the Scientologists down there, so I got
Also a cult.
Yeah, but wow, you're gonna start getting some shit in the chat room. I love it. So what happened? Yeah, I'm rubbing off on you. So,
No, I'm pretty astute in my theology, so
okay, cool. So
I know
with me on that.
in depth about Scientology. I know in depth about Mormon theology. So
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you fucking do.
Because I was gonna put you on a
I could handle the conversation if somebody comes at me with either of those things.
My brother graduated from St. Leo. You remind me of him. He graduated. He has a minor in religion. But anyway, so there's ways that they could go out and look for a body out there, but there's just so many little holes. They're going to need somebody who's already in jail or somebody out there who's going to flip. There's no way one guy did all this. There's several people, I believe, that are involved if he's murdered in this. What would be great is if what would be my home run.
And no, I'm not Mormon. For anybody asking, no, I am not. We have gone to the Mormon church. I've gone to we've gone to conference. Me and Kyle took 6 Mormon missionaries to the Church of Scientology for a tour. Religion is a big thing for me just because of how I was raised. I was raised in a very, very high control demand religion. But I'm not Mormon and I am not practicing in any organizational religion or conformed religion by any means, just to answer those questions.
Is if he came out and he was in San Diego on a beach with another dude, because then I'm going on every interview I possibly can. I hope, and then he's alive.
All your theories would be vindicated.
Oh yeah, but then he's alive and they've got to deal with that. But I've heard that that's how they've got to do this. So if you do find the hole, then you got to go down it. You know what I mean? And it's just rough. Listen, the what's the big lake? I have a home out in Vegas. It's called Lake Mead out there. The lake started to shrink, and they're finding barrels of people that were put out there like in the 40s and 50s.
Man.
Imagine that. I mean, they can't even.
The lake isn't shrinking. The water levels are lowering. The lake isn't shrinking. The water levels are. Oh my God, this guy's an idiot. I can't
prosecute anybody. The
Frank Sinatra cigar shop days.
Yeah,
in Vegas. So
and there's people that don't.
And they are finding all sorts of crazy stuff because of the water receding, but the lake is not shrinking.
Don't even know who those missing people are. What's this say here? I'm sorry.
Azoff said they found his boots. He was taken prisoner, probably by some type of criminal organization or cartel. Rural areas are commonly used for drug trafficking.
That guy's right on.
Listen to the narrative. Drug trafficking now. Are you fucking kidding me?
100% correct.
So
this is why I'm sorry if you're a true crime creator, but 99% of the true crime creators I can't take seriously because they run with speculation and are completely ignorant fools. They just click on to topics or, oh, this could be this. And then they run with crazy speculation and will milk it over and over and over again with no foundational basis behind any of it.
Well, let's finish this interview up. I can't remember exactly what's being said in the last couple of minutes, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
They were going to go out for the weekend, come here and go out for the weekend and drive around and let's just look.
Yeah, it was terrible.
We had no idea what to do or where to go. We've never done this before.
Yeah, and we didn't.
Justin and Candace have done an incredible job. In fact, I have followed them personally because it's local to me. So our local news reports a lot on it. And my heart goes out to them. They have been put through hell from YouTubers and just, having a missing child in the get-go. I don't wish that on anybody. but they've been put through hell by people like Jim Terry and others like Tyler Feller, who will platform this insanity and continue on with it. I hope that someday they get some resolve, but they have held their heads up high, and you can have difference of opinion all you want, but I can't even imagine being in their shoes.
And have help from law enforcement. I mean, it's like we said, we are not exaggerating when we say they left us in the desert.
Honey.
The literal desert.
The literal desert.
Razor.
Yeah. So like I said, we are getting the help we need now. It's been the media that's got us there. I think it would have been swept under the rug as a simple another 19-year-old that walked away had we not pushed.
The media, you guys have helped to get the FBI involved, I do believe, and I appreciate that.
Well, there's definitely an interest in your story, in your son. I mean, there is an interest. People want to know where he is and if he's okay. And here we are nearly a month later. Can you believe it's been a month?
I know.
It probably feels like 10 years to you in a way,
Yeah.
but one day to you? I mean, what has it been like?
Like I said, in waves, some days it feels like a year, some days it
Yeah.
feels like just yesterday we started.
Yeah. It's all a blur.
Anything else you want people to know?
No, we'll
Please
keep
say you're probably
updating
right.
and keep moving forward, and hopefully get some more drones out this weekend, it sounds like. So
Good.
that'll be good.
You've had drones, you've had dogs, ATVs,
Helicopters,
helicopters, horses, nothing.
nothing, not anything.
But the private
And that's one
investigator
other thing
doesn't
we're
know what he's
waiting on
talking
right now for EquiSearch is the invitation for the new pilots. I did get word of that right before I got here. That's what EquiSearch is waiting on, is for Box Elder to say yes for every pilot, because EquiSearch is very particular on how they do everything, and these drone pilots are too. Like, they need a yes from law enforcement.
They need a law enforcement around
with them.
so that the
Yeah.
evidence.
Why does he have to lean forward to his camera like that? Like, he is the creepy guy that's like, "Are you in there? Hey guys, knock knock knock. Can you see me yet?" Like, what the fuck? Getting closer to the screen is gonna make you figure out something from what they're saying there, Jim Terry. Come on now, dude. Do us all a favor. Back the fuck away from the camera. Nobody wants to see that ugly goddamn mug of yours.
Can be used.
Yeah.
They find something.
Mm-hmm. So we just, kind of feel like we're running on Box Elder's timeline instead of them running on Dylan's. Let's get these guys out here. They're lined up. They're ready to go. Let's go. So
what the hell did you guys get me into?
Well, we'll put up a picture of Dylan. This is.
I want you to hold that picture there. I've had, I got a buddy that I've kind of been friends with for a long time. He lives in Vegas. He's a school teacher and a guy.
Shut the fuck up, Jim. By the way, this is Dylan Rounds. Unfortunately, he has been missing. They still have not found his body or his remains. Well wishes to his family. There is somebody named James Brennan that has been charged. It's unfolding still, and this is the face everybody should know about, not those two little pricks sitting on the side that ran with speculation. That's the face. This is about the victims and being re-victimized by complete and utter creeps for monetary gain on the internet.
Guidance counselor, and we call him Gay Mario. He's been gay his entire life. And I sent him this kid's picture, Gay Mario. It's like having a black buddy and you go to him to find out anything you want to know about a black guy, even though they could have different opinions on things. But, well, my black buddy says this. Well, that doesn't mean they all agree. So,
and right back to the slander.
Oh, I got a good buddy. We call him Gay Mario. He was a personal trainer.
And I call it slander because that's none of our business, nor does Jim have any facts to back up his claims. And even if he was, doesn't matter. God still loves him the same. Can't say the same about you, Jim.
He worked out with some of the football teams and stuff. He looks like AC Slater from, he looks like, what's that guy's name? Mario Perez or
Lopez.
Mario Lopez. He looks just like that guy. Gets more chicks than you could possibly imagine. But anyways,
this guy's so gross.
I asked him to look at this and I said, just shoot me straight. He says, I looked at 50 pictures of this kid online and the pain in it. Now, he doesn't know the story. He doesn't know what's going on. He says, Jim, that's me when I was in high school. I says, why, Mario? And he says, I could see the pain in that kid's eyes. Now, he doesn't know the kid, the story. He doesn't know nothing. I send him pictures like this. He says, I could see the pain in that kid's eyes. He goes, that kid's gay. There's no doubt about it. He says he's just, he's.
So now being gay is painful. The fuck? How did people support this guy? I am so blown away by this shit.
Not in a position where he can be that. Right. And he says, I could just see the pain in his eyes. He showed his significant other and the guy. Now, not that that means that they're right. I also had a guy from Maine call me, and he was giving me some advice as to how to say some of the things. I mean, I'm from a locker room. What do I know?
He should have given you the advice of shut the fuck up, Jim. Shut up. That's the only thing you could have possibly done that would have been helpful. Shut the fuck up.
And how to be more sensitive when I'm explaining this. And I says, are you gay? And he says, yes. And he says, I got into a horrible fight with my father when I had to come out and tell him. And he goes, and I looked like it. He said the exact same thing that Mario said. So, you know, what does it have to do with it? I don't know. I think they probably realize that this is not going to end well. The private investigator is not going to be able to bring our son back. And we don't want to have his legacy be that he died and was this. He's gay too.
Could be that. Especially since, you know, and I looked at the town in Montello, there's one church and it's a LDS church.
Oh, you little slime ball.
Oh, interesting.
And so that means every single person in the culture is going to be very conservative and sort of hold that viewpoint, at least publicly. And yeah, I think.
How would you fucking know?
They probably don't want it out for that reason. But it may lead to meaningful results in solving this case, because it points to, you know, the finger at Kurt, in my opinion, like what you're saying. So.
And once again, as you all know, he has not been charged with anything in relation to that disappearance at this time.
Well, even if he, and I've never said Kurt's the murderer, but what I have, or that there was even a murder, but what I have said is that I could not cross him off the list. They would not let me do that. And I would think that that would be, I mean, his name, the Wadsworth name in that 25 minutes never came up. They mentioned Dawn and Jim and this place. And that. They never mentioned the Wadsworths. That just bugs the hell out of me. And they made sure to tell anybody who will listen that, listen, call us, give us all the tips. We'll chase anything down, but don't listen to that guy.
You want to know something I think was weird? When I was reading the report that was basically put out by the family, the timeline of what happened, the first thing on the timeline was a disagreement between Dylan and Dawn about a washer machine. Well, when I'm looking at drone footage, I find this in the drone footage. And to me, I'm like, does that look like a washer machine? I don't know if it has anything to do with it at all, but that's the only thing that really stuck out of all of the drone footage. I don't know. I did a poll. I analyzed this for like 30 minutes the other night with hundreds of people watching. And it was like, well, it kind of looks like it's metal and not paper. It kind of looks like it's square and not paper. And the guy who was out in Montello doing the drone footage, or he was north of Lion Mountain Base, which is sort of on that state line.
He can milk anything. Tyler will take anything and milk it for hours on end.
Essentially, he was like, he thought it was a washer machine. So
I don't know what that copper thing is hanging out of the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I don't know either. That part.
That could be space junk. I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, it's probably not going to end well. You know, God bless those parents. You know, even if they don't want to do business with me, they may hate my guts. I hope this works out well for them. I really do.
I wonder why they hate your guts, along with so many people on the internet. I wonder why.
It's not that I have an ego. Maybe I do, but I'm competitive. You know, I don't want.
Alex,
I don't want
absolutely it is.
And I definitely didn't want to lose, and that's the only reason I've been successful at what I've been at. But when you got cops in a town like that have, I don't want to say real crimes going on, but you know, you got rapes and murders and meth heads, and then by the way, this kid goes missing. Let me tell you something. That town's never going to be the same, no matter what. That town's never going to be the same.
And no one's ever prepared to have a national case like this, and there's no playbook. And as I've been doing this YouTube channel, there's time and time again that these little small towns that are not used to it have a national media attention, and it highlights 35 errors that took place, but they're not used to it and they're not well equipped for it.
They're not used to YouTubers also with a self-serving purpose coming in and throwing speculation and completely muddying the waters and getting involved and trying to actively fuck up an active case. That's what y'all are doing. Sorry, I'm just going to say it for what it is. Those of you that continue to spread misinformation, continue to speculate, continue to lie on active cases, and there's a lot of them that claim you're true crime armchair detectives, fuck with active cases. These are real people. These are real victims. They have families. It's disgusting, and it needs to come to a fucking halt because it's ridiculous how much harm is done.
Unfortunately, and it doesn't help ever solve the problem.
You know who I really feel bad for too is the other family that called me and begged me to take their case until that mom called them.
And not everybody in the true crime, you guys, there's good people in the true crime. They're few and far between, but there is a few.
I mean, I'm most concerned about that and upset about that, and that's Aiden Klum.
I was going to ask, do you think that those two cases are connected?
I think they're similar. I think it's possible. I don't think you could rule it out. The mother will.
Soundwave, I'm just your friendly asshole on the YouTube streets. I'm not a true crime creator whatsoever. I call out pieces of shit on the daily basis. My channel came to light because of a Marine veteran who attempted to take his life, which was never a true crime story. His family has been harassed and attacked for over a year by a certain handful of creators. They've announced his passing away twice that were death hoaxes. They have made incredible amounts of money off of his attempted suicide and tried to claim it was a true crime case that his wife was responsible for. So I came into this arena calling out bullshit, and that's where I've kind of stuck to. I just kind of found my niche with slime bags like this.
The mother did not want to do that, and that pissed her off too.
So basically, I stand against misinformation and exploitation of victims and their families.
She even has said in other interviews, we want you to look for Aiden. She never mentioned Aiden in one interview. She don't mention that kid. That kid disappeared. I talked to a DOT worker. The mother hired me. She got on that mother's case and said, we're going to get rid of him. You get rid of him too. She shit all over me, and that mother has not talked to me since.
And how many times has he told Tyler in this stream that he is there to spread BS because he's pissed at the family? And Tyler continued to let him go on and continues to bring him back on.
And I feel like calling that boy's father, who has not been in the case, and his grandparents as well that were helping him, and telling them I'll pick up where they left off. Let me back in this thing. The only cop that I talked to in the Aiden Klum case called me and says, he sounded just like the mother. We don't like your theory. I said, I don't have a theory. Listen, both boys roughly the same age. Both boys, I mean, almost look identical. If anybody hasn't seen Aiden Klum and this kid together, I mean, they could pass for freaking brothers. They both have, they both have issues with their shoes in the desert. The mom got pissed when I said that because the other kid was tracked 9 miles into the woods. They found his guitar, but they never found him. Now, did he go too far and some of those people out there ran into him, or did he just die by the elements? I don't know. What I can't believe is, and you could see the road from like 6 miles up that hill. And the mom was real concerned that I didn't cross the 2 cases up.
I think the comment section in here, like hearing some of your guys' own personal experiences with this creep on top of what he's done to like YouTube story, like the cases that are widely known, but seeing how many people that don't have YouTube channels or aren't big cases, how much harm he has done to other people, it's beyond disturbing.
But you couldn't cross them out. And hey, listen, there's no doubt about it. I was going to add them together.
And because it's literally one town over. I mean, it's probably 45-minute drive.
There's Aiden Klum on the left. Is there any way you could also, I don't know how you do this, but 5'8", 125 pounds, looks like Kurt Cobain on the right, but is there any way you could put the other kid's picture up there too?
Yeah, if you give me like 2 minutes, I could do it.
So you look at Aiden Klum and you look at Dylan and you put these 2 kids together. I mean, listen, it's more than a coincidence. Now, this kid, Aiden Klum, he had some mental problems, and his parents did not realize he was on medication. He was staying with his grandparents that were his father's grandparents. Now, what was interesting is when I asked his mother, who's the one that paid me, and I charged her the same amount as the other family. Where's the father? He's partying in Vegas. I can't stand him. He didn't even want to look for his son. Well, I'd like to talk to him. She wouldn't let me talk to him. When I said,
how is Jim the victim in all these? Like, if you notice, it's, they don't want to talk to me. I wonder fucking why.
Where's his grandparents that he kind of left his car there? She says, I'll get you their number, and she never would. Then she palled around with this mom. I was going to connect their 2 cases together so that I could get.
Ashley, I'm so sorry. I am so freaking sorry. Yeah, pecan pie. I feel so bad because I'm only one person, and there are so many people that their stories need highlighted. There's been so much harm done by people like Jim Terry, Tyler Feller, Zab Girl, Molly Golightly, Justice for All. The list goes on and on. Annie of 10 to Life, I hate to say it, but she's up there with the misinformation spreading too, time and time again. We've watched it. And you can't really fight it when it's their own words that you're listening to them say these things openly, time and time again, without any care whatsoever. This is not helping true crime cases. This isn't helping the victims. This isn't advocating for the victims. None of this, what these people do, is any of that. They don't care about the victims and their families. They have a self-serving purpose, and that's it. And unfortunately, we as a society have made it really beneficial for creators like this because we get excited. Like, people get excited about the drama of it, the speculation of this, until they're in those seats, until people are the families that they're being attacked. And if you think that your family couldn't be the next one on these guys' list, well, I hate to break it to you, but they have no boundaries whatsoever. And the harm that is being done, until we all start saying enough is enough, these people will continue to get away with it because we are basically encouraging them to continue to do this by platforming them, sending them money. Like, they all are grifters. They all exploit families at their weakest moments when they're going through hell of pain, when they should be supported and loved on. These people are exploiting them. Think about that. And we're paying them to do it. It's mind-boggling.
Press for this kid. This kid hasn't had shit.
I hadn't heard about it until I heard about it after I started covering the Dylan Rounds case. But
there you go. Wait a minute. Is that Dylan with a haircut? I mean, come on. I'm not, and that's a joke, but I mean, it's almost, there's some, other than this kid.
Ashley, if there's anything we can do as creators, if there's anything we can help with, please let us know. Any of you guys that there's stuff. I know there's people in here that are quiet right now that have stories too. If there's anything we can actively do that would help, please let us know. Sometimes it feels like awareness is the best way. Some people don't want their stories to be rehashed because it's too painful. Totally understand that too. Whatever we can do, because somebody's got to start thinking about the victims and their families, and this has got to come to an end. It really does. Like, it's sad. It's fucking sad.
On the left looks like he's had a better dentist. They look like the same kid. To me, that's the same kid. I've even had people call me and say, did they run away together? The only problem with that is the kid on the left ran away 5.5 weeks first.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I don't know, my friend. I think they're both going to end up, not
my friend,
not good. And I just wish that, one bad apple didn't spoil a bunch. But if for nothing else, I wish I could try. If you have any other questions, your listeners have any other questions, I'll be quick with them. You could pepper me with them. If not, I don't want to keep you any longer than I have. You let me know. I don't sleep, so you let me know.
It doesn't seem, I shut off a lot of people from being able to communicate in the chat section, unfortunately.
Why? What are they doing to each other in there?
Tyler can't handle the heat, so he has to shut his chat off. He had to block people, time people out, because he can't handle any criticism. He is a thin-skinned little bitch, in my opinion.
I don't like it being unruly.
Oh, I should say Pastor Feller is a thin-skinned little bitch, in my opinion.
In there, I like to keep it tight.
What's there to be unruly?
He likes to keep it tight because if you have an opposing view, you're not allowed to have an opposing view.
I don't know. It was hard to keep track with everything, but I've just learned that it's better to have drama minimalized because I'm more focused.
Well, drama is coming your way, baby, because I ain't letting off your neck.
Just on what's going on in the case than dealing with all the personality issues and what's going on in the chat, which is essentially what was happening.
I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun.
So people that question him have personality issues. It's their fault. Okay.
If there's anything you ever need that doesn't have to do with this case or any other case or a background check or anything you need me to run, you just give me a call and I'll do that. I've picked up another case, looks like already. So I don't think I'll be taking this case on Tuesday. That doesn't mean I won't come back to it. There's a $20,000 lottery ticket for that kid out there. I can't believe the local townspeople aren't searching.
Aren't going after it.
Yeah, that just tells you there's something a little bit more nefarious.
Well, Jim, I appreciate you coming in. Kathy sends a super chat, says, Jim, thank you for coming on tonight, sharing your knowledge. I hope you come back and discuss other cases with us.
Well, Kathy gave you $5. I'll be looking for my $250 on that. Thank you, my friend. God bless.
Have a good night, Jim.
Thank you, my friend. God bless. Oh.
Well, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream tonight, and it was very kind to have Jim on here with us. And man, it's a lot to unpack. What are your thoughts? I'll open
that you're a spineless little weasel.
Open up the phone line just for.
And Jim Terry's an absolute piece of shit, disgusting human being that doesn't deserve a YouTube platform. I'm glad he's off here. Again, please go check out the Rolling Stone article that was released on Jim Terry. We can do that another day too. I'm going to do one more little clip for you guys from a Tyler Feller stream because I've had about enough of Jim Terry running in his mouth, but I want to pull this together. Yes, France, I'm not perfect either, y'all. Like, none of us are perfect. We're all human beings. We all make mistakes. We all unfortunately find out that even people we support aren't who they are. But we can, it's not that fucking hard to be a good person. Let's just put it that way. It is not that hard to be a good person. You don't have to lie. You don't have to do all these things that these people do. You just don't have to do this shit. It is not that hard to be a decent human being, but these people make it look almost impossible because they do this with such ease and they don't even care about the victims and the families that they're hurting. So this one is actually 2 days after that previous story. Hold on just a second. Share this tab instead. This is, again, from Tyler Feller. I'm not going to get into the topic that he's discussing. This is titled A New Era. Supreme Court overturns Roe versus Wade, Faith Friday live prayer, June 24th, 2022. Again, I'm not going to get into that discussion that he's talking about, but I just want you to hear the grift. I'm going to end it with Tyler's grift.
I want to go to, but I decided to be a good steward as I was dropping off the movement coffee. They give me this, which is just like a crazy thing to be given.
You have to chop me off the nails.
So
on the way to therapy.
That was super cool. And I have 3 more of them. So don't know what I'm going to do with them. But they give me that. And then it's so significant to the person that the Lord had me on assignment to pray for. I'm still a little bit shocked by it. I'm still a little bit like, God, how crazy is it when we decide to submit ourselves to your purposes? And I just wanted to share that with you today because I just think it's a little bit of a precursor of some of the stuff that we're going to see tonight. I think that God wants to touch you tonight. I think that God wants to heal you tonight. I think that you didn't click on this video by accident, that you're here on purpose, that there is supposed to be signs, wonders, and miracles. There's supposed to be breakthrough. There's supposed to be healing. You're supposed to be made whole and new in every single sense of the way. And if the Lord sent me on assignment to do it and he used this bug as a confirmation for someone from Rhode Island, I think that there's something maybe along the way tonight that may come out that's a confirmation for you, like something in your heart that you've been sensing. And I don't know, I'm just going to believe it. I'm just going to go for it. So Sheila, thank you so much for that super sticker. Praise God. Thank you for sowing seeds into this ministry tonight. Amy says, wow, Tyler, that's how I felt, Amy. I'm still not over it. And I don't even know, like, is it a coincidence or is it the Lord? Put it in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a coincidence or is it of the Lord? Because I am like shocked by the whole thing. Like, you know, I'm like, I don't.
All right, we're fast forwarding a little bit. Let's just get to the whole, like, his grift. I'm going to end it with the grift again. So again, all of this is on one channel, not separated out to his church stuff or anything. You just saw him having Jim Terry on there. You saw the speculation, the wild accusations, the conversation. I'm not making any of this up, but let's let Tyler take you home.
Going to seed into this ministry. That's exactly right. We got to have a pure heart, pure heart, pure heart, pure heart. Clean hands, pure heart, good God. Clean hands, pure heart, good God. Now, one thing I want to do before we jump into this conversation about
your hands surely aren't that clean, are they, Tyler? You like to speculate over the Idaho 4. You like to speculate over Kylie Rodney. Your hands definitely aren't clean either, are they, there, Tyler?
Roe versus Wade, and this is customary, and it's a big part of how we operate here. But I do want to go into a time of prayer for our tithing and our giving, and the reason that.
So remember, this is all one channel. This is why I'm trying to drive this home. You just saw what he used Jim Terry to do. Same channel a couple days later. Okay. Just remember, this is all one. So that guy was basically standing at Tyler's pulpit in his church because this is Tyler Feller's ministry. So he let Jim preach the sermon that day. But now he's going to expect you to tithe 10% of your income to him.
We do this. It's because people who call this your church, you have a responsibility,
Kate,
in my opinion, as I read scripture and understand it, to tithe. You're supposed to tithe. You're supposed to give your first 10% into the storehouse. If you're not a part of our church, if you don't call me your pastor at Movement Church or Church, then this is not a time that I'm asking you to participate. But I am unashamed in saying that if I am your pastor and this is your church, then we're presenting you the opportunity to be a cheerful giver and be with a worshipful heart and worshipful attitude to give into the kingdom of God. And so that's why we do what we do. It's totally a mandate from heaven.
It's a mandate from heaven that you tithe 10% of your income to Tyler Feller if you call him your pastor. He's a fucking YouTube channel, people. Yes, he's a pastor. Yes, he's pastored in a church. But he is claiming he's a true crime creator, using people's tragedies, their weakest moments, having people on that are actively hurting victims and their families time and time again. Meanwhile, expecting you to tithe 10% of your income to him. Now, again, don't take my word for it, which we've got so much that we've got to get into. Please go pull up ProPublica. It is his 501c3 from 2022. You can see what he claims he brought in. You don't have to take my word for any of this stuff. Go look at Playboard, see how much super chats he's got. Just go look at the numbers. And you'll understand why some of this is very, very
and I'm going to pray.
Disgusting. I can't talk.
And bless your offering. If I'm not your pastor and this is not your church, we're not asking you to give.
Yeah,
you're welcome
easy,
to give.
right?
You're welcome to sow a seed. You're welcome if the Lord puts it on your heart. You're not giving out of emotional draw, but you're giving out of head and heart. not just heart, but head and heart. You're giving as instructed by the Lord. Then yeah, we want to honor that, and we want to give you an opportunity to do that.
CK, well, he probably should, considering the FTC would probably really hate to see some of these claims that he's making of curing people. That's dangerous. That's why the FTC has rules and regulations against it. Yeah, this type of bullshit doesn't go over very well.
But what we're going to do is we're going to say this prayer out loud.
Listen
and as we say this prayer out loud, this amazing thing's going to happen. This amazing thing.
Say this prayer out loud, okay? Listen to what he's asking for if you guys haven't seen this.
It's going to happen. When we partner our value system to God, we see an overflow of his blessing. And it's the one area that God says we can test him in. He says, hey.
Ashley, again, if there, I see the comments. I haven't kept up on them very well. If there's anything we can do, if there's anything I can do on my channel to help you, anything, please reach out to me. I am willing to help any families, any victims, any of you. I hate that we can't fix these things for so many people. And it's so hard because it feels so empty at times. You know, how can we help you guys when so much damage has been done? But please know that you have a lot of support, all of you guys that have been victims of these men and women. It's not just women or not just men out here doing this stuff. Unfortunately, there's a lot of these people. So let us know. We got to start standing strong against these people in the misinformation, because misinformation is harmful. It is absolutely harmful, and they are using it in ways that are unbelievable at this. Like, this blows my mind that this has gotten away with from so many people. I've seen a few people call him out, but the religion piece, he gets away with a lot because people are afraid to call out anything to do with religion.
Hey, if you want to test me in anything, you can test me with your finances. And every single week, without fail, we have seen God's provision show up in people's lives as they partner their value system to his. And so those of you who are giving today, would you say this prayer out loud with me? As we receive today's offering, we are believing the Lord for, come on, say it out loud with me, jobs and better jobs, raises and bonuses, benefits, sales and commissions, favorable settlements, estates and inheritances.
So he's basically hoping that people die so you get estates and inheritances. Think about that.
Interests and incomes, rebates and returns, checks in the mail, gifts and surprises, finding money, debts paid off, expenses decrease, blessing and increase. Thank you, Lord, for meeting all of my financial needs, that I may have more than enough to give into the kingdom of God and promote the gospel of Jesus Christ. Hallelujah and amen. Now, let me say a special prayer of blessing over you. Father, I bless every single person today who's partnering their value system with yours. Father, I thank you that people who call this their ministry home are tithing into the ministry, are sowing seeds into this ministry, are gaining value from you. And so, Father, I just pray right now in the name of Jesus that every single dollar represents a soul that's going to come to know you, and that every single dollar that's given, Father, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to them as they're trusting you with their finances. And so I just pray an overwhelming just flow of your grace and provision to wash over them in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, the best way that you guys can give is on www.tylerfeller.com/give. That's the number one best way you can give.
By the way, still his website seems to be down. He did put up a Google Doc yesterday for his benevolence fund, but the Google Doc is pretty interesting too. We'll be breaking that down a little bit later this week because it's pretty interesting. Kind of funny how as soon as he gets called out that there's no links that he claimed he had, he comes up with a Google Doc.
And signing up for a recurring plan is the best way you can help us plan for the things that God's wanting us to do in the future. You can also give on PayPal, which my PayPal is just Tyler Feller. You can give on Cash App, which is $TylerFeller22, or on Venmo, which is at Tyler-Feller. And those are amazing ways that you can help.
This guy has got all of his apps down. Blah, 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 blah. Like, he has practiced that so much.
And thank you guys so much that have given already. I saw Carol Roth-Lilly sent a gift over. Barbara Redleston sent a gift over. Kenneth sent a gift over earlier today.
And no, if you donate to him through a super chat or a super sticker, it is not tax deductible for some reason because it goes through YouTube. So he has these other reoccurring sites set up that he claims are tax deductible for the contributor, but not through YouTube.
Today
is my understanding.
I bless you. Kristen Rose says, I love the Feller fan. Thank you, Kristen Rose. Thank you for sowing a seed into this ministry. I bless you in Jesus' name. That's so kind of you. And Father, I just bless Kristen. Thank you, Jesus, for her generosity.
$200 super chat. $200 super chat. Again, people are free to do with whatever they want to with their money. God's love doesn't have a price tag, y'all. And you don't need some creepy little slime bag bastard that's a 40-year-old virgin sitting in his fucking apartment, can't go outside because he's too busy grifting off everybody else, in my opinion, everybody else's weakest moments. Instead of helping these people, he is harming them, in my opinion.
Frosty and her constant willingness to sow seeds and the things that you're doing in this ministry. I just pray favor and increase rest upon her. And Father, I just hear you saying that you want to use her to do things that she never thought that she would be capable of, and that you're equipping her in this next season to walk into a new area of calling. And that actually, since she was in her mother's womb, you begin to instill a passion and a skill set for these things. And so I just commission you, Kristen, to do the thing.
Please keep those little baby hands down. They haven't seen a day of work in a lifetime.
That you know God's calling and asking you to do. I bless you in Jesus' name. Trish, thank you so much for that super sticker. I bless you in Jesus' name. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Patricia Wade says, would love to move.
By the way, too, one of the things that I'm really seeing that people are confused by what they're supporting. So the movement church and the church that he used to pastor for, who does the actual missions, who does the good deeds, the Foundational Baptist Church that he used to be a part of in a different state than he lives in, he has people confused by what they're actually supporting. So it's actually the church that he used to be affiliated with that has a new pastor that he seems to take credit for a lot of their good doings, but yet the money that people are sending him goes into his church, which is he is the sole beneficiary of that church. There's a lot of confusion there because there's a lot to break apart here.
Movement church, extra love, extra blessing. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Patricia Wade. Joan says, Tyler, this is for our ministry to be used in any way you feel is needed. I love you all. Joan, thank you so much for sowing a seed. We just bless you in Jesus' name. Hosmer says, love you, Jesus. Yes, praise God. I love Jesus too. And I know one of the questions.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't have a tattoo. That would be desecrating his body.
Questions that people always have is like, well, what is all this money for? Well, there's less money that comes into this ministry than I think some of you guys realize. Like, for example, last month, I think on YouTube, the total revenue was like, after YouTube took their cut, was like $3,000 or around that, which
$3,000 in a month after YouTube took theirs. He still made $3,000 a month. This was June a year ago.
I mean, it's a significant amount of money, but it's not as much as we want to be able to accomplish certain things. And one of the things that I've been praying about for us to accomplish would be that God would be using us in such a way that I heard him say structure.
One of my favorite Mormons is the tattooed Mormon. Of course, I'm a fan of ink, as you guys can see, but it's been a whole thing my entire life. Oh my God, Becky got more tattoos with my family too. I'm surprised. Some Christians aren't against tattoos. I mean, it just kind of varies from place to place, but that actually shocks me. I bet he cried getting it too.
For growth, that he would be expanding our territory and he would want us to add an additional staff person to our ministry. And that's something that I believe was able to happen. And we're doing it on sort of like a temporary basis or a basis that is going to be a trial to see how it works out. But some of you guys know Tisha Maxwell, who
the lady that was on this first stream of his that I reviewed. Listen to this.
Is a part of our Faith Friday streams occasionally as someone who has ministered and calls in. And she has just an amazing gift. God has given her an amazing gift to be a life coach and a pastoral counselor.
Fuck another life coach. I'm over it. Okay. Anyways, you guys got the prayer. You've heard your duties. You better tithe. Tithe 10% of your income to this little fraud, in my opinion. Like, God's love doesn't cost a thing. I don't care who you believe in. God's love there's not a price tag. If you don't have money to give, God loves you the same. I can't get down with this line of thinking. I can't get down with any of this bullshit. This is, in my opinion, the faith manipulation is absolutely some of the worst. Yes, Amethyst, 100%. They're no different. Every one of them is the same. They just dress their tactics differently. Anyways, y'all, we've had enough bullshit for the day. I would say we've heard enough bullshit. I just wanted to put it out here. Misinformation is misinformation. You can take the religion piece out of it completely and you still have nothing but dangerous behavior. Tyler Feller absolutely uses faith manipulation. 100% true crime. He's just got a very good grift going on and he thinks he's really good at it, but he's not. And pressure is needed. So I'm good at pressure campaigns. That's one thing I'm good with, is once I get my foot on somebody's neck, I don't seem to really let up very much. So it is what it is. Any questions before we get off here today? Oh, Autumn, I don't even want to know. I really thank you guys. There's so many new names in here today. Thank you guys for joining me. I don't know where you all came from or how you guys got here, but I appreciate you being here. Sorry I wasn't as engaged in the chat, but you'll kind of find out with me. I kind of grind too. Like, I am very, once I get somebody in my eyesight, it's a little hard. Like, I just go on and on. So get prepared, because it's always a little bit fun. We have so many people. Like, if you think about the last couple months too, we went from uni, like all of them are the same. They just package themselves differently. Some are better than others at it. Hate to say it. Thank you, Leo. And by the way, before you try any of your I'm under a spiritual attack, bitch, I've been under spiritual attack since I was 7 years old. They tried holding me down, casting these demons out years ago. I like my demons. They're stuck with me. We have a great relationship. They actually, God has blessed me with wonderful little demons that give me the ability to call assholes like you out on the internet. It is what it is. It is what it is. So you want to cuss me, cuss God, because God gave me the ability to speak this mind and the platform to do it. So I guess take it up with God. You can say I'm under spiritual warfare. It's okay. It's just called moving. Moving and kids. Oh, okay. The hymns that have been coming up in my head. So just something, a backstory about me. So I grew up in the Midwest. My parents were divorced when I was really young. My dad dove deep into religion. I was actually baptized Lutheran, which is really funny because Lutheran is like tame compared to what the religions we ended up in. We switched from a Lutheran church to a Wesleyan church, and then went full on like over the deep end. And then my mom's side of the family is completely the other way. So I had to like learn so much back and forth about religion. But then as an adult, being able to like make up my own mind, I have done a lot of work in like going and investigating religions, going to the churches. Like, I don't just talk about them. I've actually been a part of the congregation. And one thing I have found across the board is it's not about the religion itself. Some of them are very damaging. Some of their tactics are very wrong, but good people are good people. No matter if they're Mormon, no matter if they're Scientologists, good people are genuinely good people. Bad people, it doesn't matter what religion they try on. They're bad people. Like, a lot of people will hide their sins behind religion because it gives them a get out of jail free card. It is not the way it works. That's why we are here. So yeah, crazy, huh? I know. It's wild. It's wild. Spent a lot of time in Pentecostal religions. I grew up with my aunt and uncle were a traveling evangelistic group. They had 8 kids. They all played instruments. They traveled. They were all homeschooled. One of their oldest children is, well, she was a singer and a professor of theology for a long time at Boston U. Very educated. All of them were homeschooled. Her older brother has even more of an incredible job that I won't explain on here, but some of the most intelligent, amazing human beings that just truly love other people. Lutefisk, Lefsa, are you going to win tonight? Y'all sure you betcha. Now I just sounded like my dad. But this is nothing about against your belief systems. This is nothing against, like, I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what you worship to. I don't care about that. I care about the harm that these people are doing and hiding behind religions to do it. I care about the actual harm that is done to victims. I care about the 33 fucking states that are making it impossible to prosecute clergy members. I care about all the victims that are re-victimized and then hid behind religion, and we're just supposed to be okay with it. That's what I give a shit about. I'm not here to cut down on your religious belief systems. I'm not here to preach to you, to tell you that you're doing it the wrong way or what you're believing. That's not why we're here. We're here because the harm that is being done by people like this. Tyler Feller is the next Kenneth Copeland, the next Benny Hinn. It's all the same. It's grifting and it's hurting victims. It's manipulative misinformation is all it is. You can dress it any way you want. It's all the same. If we're here to stand against misinformation, then you can weed through the bullshit and realize that misinformation is misinformation. And if you can't, I'm sorry, I can't help you with it. Just another Kenneth Copeland. Can't be in a tunnel with a bunch of demons. Gotta need my own plane for that. Pentecostal. Over the top Pentecostal or normal Pentecostal? Let me ask that, because there's varying degrees of Pentecostal, you see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is headstones. This is fun for me. This is like, there's so much, like, it is hard to address religious trauma. It really is. Because so many people actually suffer from religious trauma that won't openly even say. Like, it is hard for people because it's one of those things that is ingrained in you that if you speak out against something, then you are shunned. Here in Utah, if people leave the church, they lose their entire fucking family. Like, I don't think people even understand how this shit works. If you have a difference of opinion because of your life experience, you're shunned by your entire family. Oh, super strict. Okay. Yeah. For the longest time, my girl cousins, the family of 8, love them dearly. They are like incredible. They used to break horses. So the girls, up until I think I was in middle school or high school, by the time that they could wear jeans, they wore long jean skirts and leggings, but they broke horses in long jean skirts. You want to talk about some hard asses, like some amazing people. Nana Tiddler. Yes, absolutely. Your behavior says a lot. Yes. Okay, absolutely. Scapegoating. Yes. Yes, it's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Absolutely. Okay, y'all, I'm off. I got to run for the day. Thank you guys all for joining me. If you're new here, welcome to we call this the island. This is considered the reef. This is the rocky but beautiful part of the island. We don't give a fuck. We talk from our whole chest about actual issues that are affecting our society, our internet platforms, the dangers of it, the misinformation. That's where we stay. I'm a one-man show. Kyle usually comes and hangs out with me. Sometimes I have amazing people around me that have been incredible and very influential over the last year. I am super lucky, but it is a rocky ride over here. Buckle up at all times and get your helmets on. I'll have to pull the helmet out and start a live with that. People will really think I've lost my mind. Yeah, Julie. Me too. Oh, thank you, Brett. All right, y'all. I'm out. And I'm from the Midwest, so I say goodbye 15 times. And I never actually leave. You got to hang up first. Absolutely, moderator. Ask away. You got me. Y'all know me and you keep your helmet on. We keep them by the bed. And no, that is not what you think it is on the wall either. It's burlap on the chalkboard. Pretty soon my room's changing. So if you're new here, this month is going to be crazy. Buckle up because we're in the process of a big life change for us anyways. Nonsense on DA web at gmail.com. It's in my about section too. I know, Deets. I know. I can't help it. It's just what it is. Thank you all. Is this a fake hang up? Right, if you can. Do you remember the huge Mormon family that played music, 12 kids that had a TV show? Mormon family, 12 kids that had a TV show. Mormon family. Where were they from? Do you know where they were from, moderator? That's pretty typical. That's a pretty typical family dynamic. But the TV show part, I'm like, Yeah, you see. I don't, moderator, I don't know which one would have had a TV show, though. The Osmonds? Do I have 2 channels? I do have a backup channel. It's called All the Nonsense. I can post it in my community tab again. Once we get moved, we will be doing more over there. Like I'll do cooking over there and like the cabana hangouts at the pool, stuff like that. The Plath family. Is that who she's talking about? The Osmonds? I know a lot of the, I actually know a lot of the people that are on TV now in that religion that people criticize. I know some of those people in real life. So the Plath family is interesting too. American Got Talent, got a TLC show. The father was arrested for SA abuse. All the girls, that would be interesting. I'm not sure. Duggars aren't Mormon. Nope. They're IBLP or whatever they are. Plath family isn't Mormon. The Willis family. I don't know who that is, moderator. I'm going to look into them now that I hang up. I might know who they are, but it's not ringing a bell. They must not have had a very big TV show for a while. I know we're all like, huh. The Willis clan. I'll look into him. I will definitely look into him. We actually have a lot of friends that are FLDS. Some that have like 50 plus siblings. Like, it's crazy. Great people, though. Wonderful people. Like I said, good people are good people. Like, you can take religion out of it, and they're still great people. 19 Kids and Counting was the same. 19 Kids and Counting is very similar to some of the stuff that I'm used to. Hey, Good Egg. It's okay. You probably remember all this. This was just a refresher of like what Feller gets down with when he brought Jim Terry on. It was just kind of a baseline. Like, you can take religion out of this discussion. Misinformation and harm to the victims and their families is still there with or without religion. I just wanted to bring it back to let people know that this has nothing to do with the religion. Just the misinformation spreading and Tyler platforming people like Jim Terry is dangerous. That's what we were doing with this one. But then we're going to hop back into some of the religion. We're going to talk about the money, where I'm going to pull the ProPublica. We're going to pull some old interviews that he did of his origin story from 2018. I'm going to do a little side work in finding out more stuff about Jim. I look forward to talking to you guys some in the email and finding out more about that. All right, y'all. Okay, now I'm out. No, see? You guys get me talking about something else. Yeah. Yep. You know what, Autumn? I was telling that to Kyle last night. So Tyler is selling God, right? So we talk about people who deal in drugs, okay? And I'm just going to be frank with it. Like, they are selling something to people to try and fill a void. Drug addiction, you know, that drug is filling a void. Makes them feel better physically, whatever the case may be. Tyler is using God in the same way that a person used drugs. He's selling God when God's love is free. Like, but so many people are at their weakest moments, their broken time, seeking God and to fill an empty void because of so many people are broken, whether it's the same thing. It's just a different substance. But he is using God as his substance to peddle to people. It's really no different. It's sad, but it's the truth. Yes, absolutely. Cutie pie. Absolutely. It's wrong. And it's very dangerous and it's very harmful, but God's love doesn't cost a thing. And that's what's crazy to me, to watch so many people sit back and say, you know, and that's a personal experience of mine too. A lot of people that get really deeply involved in religion have some sort of past with addiction. It's trading addictions for a lot of these people. They will go from my dad. I can tell this story because he openly talks about it. He had a problem with alcoholism when I was young. I didn't even know about it for the longest time. And then he got involved in religion, and it was like a switch from one to the other. It's just filling a void for people too. A lot of people. Now, granted, he is deeply believing and very secure in his religion, what he feels, but it's just trading addictions, really. And a religion can easily become an addiction too, just like social media can. Anything really can when somebody is looking for a filler. Yes. Yep. Yeah. And this is where Amethyst and I are like super connected. Amethyst and I have a lot of like, if it wasn't for her and Kyle, I would have never dove into this. And Revival, like, encouraging me, like, no, it's okay to have these discussions, because a lot of people get so upset and uptight about discussions around religion, but this really has nothing to do with religion at the basis of it. This has to do with manipulative people who in general are manipulative, and they hide and use religion as a tool. It's not okay. Okay, I'm out. This time I'm hitting the button. See y'all later. Have a great day. If it's Monday and you have had a rough weekend, go do something for yourself. Like I said before, take a box of Cheez-Its to the closet, cry, go take a shower by yourself, cry, go outside, get some sunshine. Don't cook tonight. Do something for you. Self-care is so important. And we are in a really toxic arena. And when you are actively choosing to continue to put this stuff in your head every day, you also have to do something to lift yourself up. You cannot continue to pour into everybody else all the time unless you're pouring into yourself. So take care of you guys. Okay. That's my order for the week. I'll see you guys later.